What up?
We're back.
Hi.
I feel the lavender is creeping. I had to start. I had to get that
You
out.
and your Taylor Swift girl.
Yo, I've been sleeping on her. I will admit I've been sleeping on Taylor. I'll admit
The cult.
I was sleeping on the weekend. I'm done sleeping on artists. I was sleeping on a weekend. I won't do that again. I'm not sleeping on Taylor Swift. But I had to get that out my system for the fan club. So thank y'all for my intro.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be back in the fan club. It's my favorite place to be on a Wednesday. Hi, Dylan. Yeah, we're running a tad bit late, but it's cool. We got a big show for you guys today. We are going into the biggest I'm her moments in women's wrestling history. So we put it out there on Twitter. We asked all our Twitter followers what were some of those biggest moments. It's probably the biggest tweet that we've ever done. It has at like 2.7 million views. Hi, Rakasha. So there was a lot of responses. So we're going to get into some of the most impactful ones in a little bit. In the meantime, let's get into what's going on in the TWG universe. Of course, we got Thirsty Thursday, May, I want to say 11th. Yeah, 11th. We are going to be streaming with a surprise guest, so make sure you stay tuned. That's our monthly party. We sip anything, water, champagne, coffee, and we talk shit about wrestling. I want to give a quick shout out to Kevin, the editor-in-chief of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Today is his birthday, so I want to give a shout out to him. I met him via Twitter, and he has been a friend of the show for so long. I had the pleasure of being on the committee for the Women's 150 issue, and he did a lot to represent women's wrestling and and PWI when he was in charge. So I definitely want to give him a shout out. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. So make sure you guys flood his comments with happy birthdays. We love you. Sending all the love from TWG. Yeah, we have a lot going on. We have a lot of surprise streams. So all I'm gonna say is stay tuned, follow us, also subscribe to our Patreon. We have a lot of fun stuff on there. We just dropped a bunch of interviews from WrestleMania weekend, including with Shayna Baszler, but there's even more on Patreon. So it's only $1 a month. So make sure you support. We have a lot of fun stuff coming. So I kind of want to just get into the show because we have a lot to talk about today. The I'm her moments were like pouring in. We had a lot going on. So let's first start with Trish Stratus.
Whoop whoop.
Legendary Trish Stratus. So she is an icon, obviously, but especially in Canada. If you watch The Office, you get that joke. But in Canada, you see, Justin, you know the vibes. You know the vibes.
Yep.
But she is a judge on Canada's Got Talent. She was recently killing it on the red carpet for the Canadian Screen Awards. And obviously, she's back in WWE for good. So here in the fan club and on the show, we talked about, what was going to happen with Trish Stratus after Mania, her and Lita. Is this going to be a one-off? Is this going to be temporary? But she seems to be here to stay. She joined Becky Lynch in a women's tag team championship match and cost them the titles, and she turns on Becky Lynch. And so it looks like she's here to stay. I don't know what's going to happen with Lita, but it looks like Trish is here to stay. I am very curious of your thoughts because we haven't talked about it. So Brian, I kind of know Brian's thoughts. He was tweeting about it. How did you guys feel about her heel turn, her promo, and how all of that is sort of coming together?
Don't everyone speak at once.
I know it's growing on me. It's starting to grow on me, but now I'm starting to get it. But y'all know me, I'm into fashion. Can we get into the fact that she pulled us back into TNA manager Trish Stratus for a while? I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
when she came out, I was just like, oh my God.
Shit. I was like, you didn't have to slap us twice, ma'am.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh God.
To the point where people were like, her first Stacy, now her, like, y'all don't age. What the hell?
So I just want to quickly just say, I usually like fan club. Like I look forward to it. And then like people show up like Hugh, hey Hugh. And then the vibe is thrown off like welcome to fan club.
Oh
Damn,
Lord.
why? What did brother? We got to get into the backstory.
He just
on the
got
Thirsty
in. You trying
Thursday
to
of
kick
what
him
he
out
did.
already?
I know,
I'm not
right?
kicking him out. I just welcomed him.
We got to get into a backstory of why there's so much animosity between you two, but we can't do that now. It's not Thirsty Thursdays.
Yo, that's a whole nother
Yeah, nah. Not for fan club.
Another show. But we do have love for Brother Hugh. He's wrestling realm, all that good stuff. Welcome to the club. That was nice,
brother.
right?
My
That
brother.
Hi, Brother Hugh.
Yes.
It sounded like Paige just cut a promo on Hugh. He's like, welcome. Man, I can't wait to hit you with a chair backstage.
I am curious of what he thought of Trisha's promo. I am curious.
Yeah, WrestleMania 40.
I mean, she just had to remind people like she's a living legend for a reason. Yeah. Like when you think of the Attitude Era, it's really Trish and Lita, and then there's like there's so many women that came through that Attitude Era that also made contributions, but like she's the one that like is on everyone's Mount Rushmore when you think of like women's wrestling in WWE and even just in general. It's like when you think of like who are the top 5 women of all time, her name is going to get mentioned more often than not, and you think of everything she's contributed. It's like, you know, sometimes we get lost in the moment of just like recency bias where it's like, yo, look at what the 4 Horsewomen did, or look what Paige and AJ Lee did. It's kind of like, remember who started this? Remember who got this ball rolling? Remember who first main evented Raw and was rocking with the title and stuff like that? Like, there's a reason why everyone knows my name. Even like accounts that don't normally follow wrestling know who the hell Trish Stratus is. That explains it right there.
Yeah. It really does. I think for me, it was what she was saying was love everything about it.
Oh yeah.
I'm not your childhood fantasy.
Yes, you are.
Like, I mean, yeah.
I ain't gonna say it, but
the boys in the back may disagree, but you know,
like she started it. Everything that she said, you know, like it was accurate. And I think that's the best thing about like heels that talk shit is like when they're speaking the truth, because it just like, you know, it makes they hate even more because it's like, fuck, she's right, you know what I mean? But I just to me it felt a little flat for the simple fact that I think there should have been some engagement from either Becky or Lita. Like it just kind of feels like, you know, I don't know, it's something about it didn't like necessarily like hit for me like I would have liked it to.
No, you know what?
Go ahead, Brother Brian.
You hit right on point. It was the words she was saying was spot on. The delivery for me was, man, and y'all know, like I'm a huge Trish Stratus fan. And the thing I always liked about her was that she made me like her because of her looks and because of her wrestling. And that's the reason why I have her right now as the greatest of all time. But she's been so nice, like a nice person for so long. It was almost as if she forgot how to be mean. And the way she was talking, it just didn't like it. Didn't, I waited for this all day. And I finally get her out there. Like, yeah, she looked amazing. We gotta, for the people just joining in, just in case you didn't see, like she looked amazing.
Like Jesus, like
smack.
But then, you know, I'm like, yo, okay, when are we getting there? When are we getting there? And it just, like I said, the words, yeah, everything she said was true, but it felt so, okay, Trish, you're going to go out there, you're going to say this, you're going to say that. I don't want to say as bad as her first ever promo when Jerry Lawler told her she looked like she was a deer in the head cut, with the head's cut off, but she was almost that bad as far as the delivery.
I think shaky, is a good word. I think it's what you said, like she's so used to being the nice person now. And someone tweeted, I don't know who it was, but they were saying how she like her trying to like be negative towards Lita. They use the term team bestie too much. Like it just doesn't, you know what I mean? Like where it's just like it's hard for us to get suspended in this story if we like legit know that y'all are like lifelong best friends. You know what I mean? Like, so then it's also just like we know, like, I don't know.
I don't. Oh,
Go ahead.
That's what I was
I
gonna
don't-
say. Because I feel like we talk about how kayfabe is kind of messed up by social media, and I feel like if I didn't know that Lita was like the goddaughter to Trisha's kids, or like they literally had like a podcast together, or they literally like go to conventions together, like the promo would have made a lot more sense. Or even like, you know, if they had pointed more towards like why she betrayed them, it would have made a lot more sense. Probably would have got a little more heat. But because it was mostly about like why Trish was defending herself, I felt like that's why it felt flat.
See, now I disagree with the fact that we know too much about them being best friends, right? Only because I feel that if you know, we smart enough to know how wrestlers are. We know that a lot of them are good friends. We knew that when Roman was beating Jay with the belt, we knew they was in the back eating steaks and sushi. The issue, I think, with the leader of it all is if we could have had if we could have actually seen the attack, or for her to like really go in on Lita and say, you big dummy, this is the reason why, because you caught up in the new stuff and look at what we've done. I think she didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like I thought that's where it was gonna go.
Yeah, and so that's the part of the element of the story that was missing. You know,
Love you.
so but other than that, I wasn't worried about knowing the fact that they're great friends. Like we all know that, but I just needed, like when Cody and Dustin had their issue, we saw it on screen, and I just needed to see. Now I think it's gonna come, honestly. You know, I think we're gonna see maybe video footage, or maybe they'll just get into it and it's gonna be so nasty.
But that's what I was gonna say. It has to be exaggerated then, because we know y'all are friends in real life. Like now y'all have to go like the extra mile and say maybe like some wild shit. Like that's what we would know. Okay, now I can suspend my belief and be like, oh shit, y'all really beefing.
Yeah.
But is Trish at this point like capable of convincing us of that, because of the fact of what you said? Like, you know, she's so much of a nice person, you know, blah blah blah. Although I do think she's doing pretty good on social media building up the Hill Trish. She does very well with social media. I really wish like Lita was doing more on Twitter and like engaging, because that's one of the things that like made Becky Lynch was because she was really good at using social media to her advantage, better than anyone. I honestly think, because like some of the shit she was saying on Twitter, like I remember Mila Cheese being like, "Yo, did you see what Becky tweeted?" Because she was
her and Rhonda, when Rhonda would tweet something, and then Becky would just dunk on her every chance she got, and it's just like, yo, Rebecca, not even Becky, Rebecca, what the fuck?
And look, if we ever get that match, they already got the ready-made storyline. Like that's a match that they got in their Rolodex that for all we know they could be saving for WrestleMania 40, but they got that match ready just because of the social media exchange.
That honestly helped to become the main event, because it was just so heated, like from every direction.
Yep,
that part.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel like stay tuned. You know, adjusting to like the new role. Like I think, you know, like it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of work. So it's like I just want to see more of it.
Facts.
And when was the last time Trish really went out there and cut a promo solo like that? Like it's been a minute, right?
Yeah.
Babyface promos are easy when you're Trish Stratus. You know what I mean? Like making us boo you and hate, you know, because now it went to like now the level of like respect, and you've come back as a babyface legend every time now. So now she kind of has to go like overboard. So like that's why we have to see the attack on Lita, so that we can really be like, okay, yeah, we fucking hate you. Also, the fact that she looks like so good, like also like
so damn good. Like, does yoga really be doing that? Like, I gotta look into this. I gotta do my Googles.
Letty says that all the time. She's like, oh, that's what yoga and veganism do.
Yeah, because shout out to Oxcott, because he put like a tweet up there of showing like Trish back in the Attitude Era and Trish now, and it's literally like no difference other than just like she's older. That's it. It's like, bruh, what is the secret?
Yeah.
Where is this fountain of youth you're drinking out of? Because we all need a piece of this.
100%. And I agree. The attack, it definitely didn't hit.
They're gonna edit that like they edited the stunner.
Oh, 1,000%. You know, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. That's why I'm like, they have time to make up for, you know, and make it something because they want to do. They probably want to do something for Puerto Rico. So hopefully that really helps. Hey, Vaughn.
That's a stack card too. That's gonna be a stack card. Them people Puerto Rico getting a treat.
I'm jealous. My people, y'all do something.
Manifest a way that I can like be there. I even like hinted it at my boss and shit. And, yeah, but I'm sure I'll have a good time watching it from home. Well, from wherever I'll be. But yeah, I'm excited for it. There's a lot happening in the women's division, like across the board. So we're gonna stay tuned and be hopeful, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta be positive about it. In the
this is the first chapter in their story. We can't be criticizing chapter 1. It's like reading like a book of Game of Thrones, and we're like, I already hate chapter 1. It's like, bro, let the story play out.
You gotta let it cook a little bit.
Chill, it's a new book.
We just put it in the oven. Let it roast. Let it marinate.
Hey man, speaking of books, I'm reading 3 Ring Circus. That's a good book. But I'm a Laker fan, so
I know. Anybody who's a Laker fan appreciates that book to its core.
Oh, you finished it?
Uh-oh. You're gonna appreciate it. You're gonna appreciate the franchise a lot more. I don't understand because I feel like people talking about Succession. I feel like the ownership is one of those things, those Succession storylines.
Oh, the Bus family. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when you finish that book, Brian, text me because you're gonna appreciate it 10 times more. You're gonna understand everything.
Like the Hulu series, like that was fascinating to me. Like when he said, "I have enough teams to go around," I was like, "Oh, that's the kind of generational wealth I need to be acquiring in my fucking life, where you're fucking throwing
manifesting
around."
Word. I feel like media family empires and sport family empires. Like that's why I feel like people, if they ever decide to come with a show about the McMahons, I need full seat. I need to go to the premiere. I want to be able to do live commentary.
We're going as a family.
Like I want to be able to do those.
I'm gonna be able to handle my excitement, to be completely honest.
I feel like we should be the ones to do like one of those after show podcasts like they have for Succession. That's like that would be like an Otis manifestation because the things I would have to say.
Oh man, the Vince movie gonna be like the Joker movie. Like when the Joker's dancing down the steps, that's Vince coming back to WWE.
He might come back.
I know you can't say his name. He must not be named.
There you go.
So right now I'm reading Fat Joe's. Well, I'm listening to Fat Joe's autobiography.
Oh, nice.
Lean back.
Best, like it's so good because it's his voice, and like he's from the Bronx, so like I recognize the streets and like there's sound effects of like it's a dope.
That's how I felt about Mello's book. Especially when he talked about his transition to Baltimore, and you recognize in the streets and in his voice. I definitely can understand where you're coming from on that one.
And one thing about Fat Joe that people don't realize, he has a lot of stories. He navigates in so many different circles. Like,
wow,
he's one of those guys that like you don't really understand how famous and connected he is until you see him. Like, he's with billionaires, he's with millionaires, he's with Jay-Z, he's with basketball players, he's with this circle, and he's just like, how?
A lot of fingers in the pot, and because he's Hispanic, he doesn't get the respect that he deserves. Because like honestly, he's up there. Okay, I would never say anyone's up there with Jay-Z, but you know what I'm trying to say. He's a mogul. You know what I mean?
Is he what Conan is to Mexican wrestlers? Is he that for the Hispanic community?
Yes, he is.
Very much so.
Gotcha.
And then when you say with Jay-Z though,
you know better because like I'm not.
It's hard because like you can't really compare him to Jay-Z because then we'll automatically always say Pun's better, and then even he'll be the first one to be like Pun was always that guy. Like if Fat Joe was Jay-Z, Pun was always Biggie, and Joe was always like Pun was going to be the one.
Gotcha.
Everyone said like Pun was that one until Pun passed away.
That's
Unfortunately,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
But like Joe's like solid. He's very well respected. It's just the
Very well
fans don't give him the proper flowers, but the people in the industry all do across the board.
Very well respected. He made a lot of things happen in the history of hip hop that like people don't realize, and like being able to hear it from him and like from his perspective. Also, he's like mad funny, and he reminds me like of my friends, like my Puerto Rican friends that I grew up with. So like it's just a dope ass book. But I want to listen to Three Ring Circus, for sure. And let's
slide that over. Ain't that,
if it's anything like the
book, slide that book over. You finish, shorty.
If it's anything like the Winning Time series on HBO, where they also just talk about the genesis of the Lakers dynasty, then I'm with it.
Yeah, I love it. I love that series.
Love it. All right, so let's take a break and get into some of these I'm her moments.
It's gonna be a quick one, but it's gonna be
entertaining. Let's do it.
Quick break coming up. Y'all ready?
What's up, everybody? It's the Wrestling Girls here, KRISTA B with Queen PR, and we have Miss Shayna Baszler with us. How are you feeling today?
Shayna B.
KRISTA B, Shayna B. That's it.
The Queen of Spain.
Yes, that's it. We're here. Like now it's three of us. Now you have to watch it for the three of us. But how you feeling today?
I mean, it's crazy. I'll probably like knock out after this because it's been all nitrous burning. But yeah, I mean, it's WrestleMania week.
It's WrestleMania week. Like
yo, that is hilarious.
My god. Yo,
I like the Shayna B. I like that.
She's so funny. Like she's so funny. She's so I don't know how to describe it. Like she feels like I could be friends with her. Yeah, like I could
personable.
Very personable. There you go. Yeah,
that's awesome.
She's super awesome. She's one of my favorite that we were able to interview. So if you haven't already, check out our WrestleMania playlist on YouTube. There's interviews with Bianca Belair, Ricochet. I want to say Braun Strowman, but I think that's on Patreon. Shayna Baszler, Natalia. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff on there. Yes, we love her. So she's low key like an honorary like TWG. Like Shayna Baszler, Shayna B. She is honorary those wrestling girls. So I definitely want to just shout her out because she was like so nice and so funny. And you know, like when you like really like someone like a celebrity or something, and like you meet them and like you just hope that they're like nice. Like I'm glad that she was like exactly like what I like about her. Like that's who she was when we talked to her. So
nice.
I really appreciate
love that.
I love that. You don't get a lot of that.
You don't.
You don't.
And I will say, like, all the interactions, because I've been really reflecting lately, like, in a real way, because I don't, when it comes to stuff, because I'm just like, what's next? And I'm really, like, I'm so grateful that everyone that I met, I didn't have a negative experience in LA, like, as far as different people, being introduced to people, like, everyone was just, like, you know, super nice, super approachable. So I'm able to look back at all those like interactions like very, very fondly. So
Stephen Amell.
Yes. Does anyone watch Heels? Everyone that's in the fan club, does anyone watch Heels on Stars? It is like
it's so worth it. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god! Speaking of Heels, I just want to shout out Kayfabe Clothing because I love their line. They have the hoodie. A lot of people ask me where I got my hoodie from that I wore second at WrestleMania. It's Kayfabe Clothing. It's actually run by like friends of Liv Morgan, and it's really a really dope look. I really like this shirt. You got the attitude scratch. You know.
That looks nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
It is good quality.
Check them out. Very good quality. That hoodie really saved the day because it was a little cold in Hollywood, but. Shall we get into things?
Sure.
Let's shout.
So. I think now's the time. You know.
So I saw a tweet go viral. Everybody knows sound effects. So one thing I saw on Twitter was the whole like I'm him moments that like went viral. Everyone saying I'm him moments, and you know Carmelo Hayes, that's his moment. So I tweeted because of course I'm just like, okay, I'm him moments. Like I know a lot of I'm fucking her moments. So we put the tweet out. It got millions of views. We got a lot of responses. But before we get into it, how would you guys like if someone never heard? I just got off the phone with my dad explaining to him what woke meant for like 30 minutes. How would y'all explain what the I'm him, I'm her moment? Like, how would you guys define that? Because it could just like it's a difference between like just accomplishments in wrestling, but like how would you guys define like I'm her moments, all caps?
Just being the ultimate exception. Like the ultimate exception. Like there's people that can emulate you, but they can't be you type of thing. That's where I see when people were putting up that like a lot of it was related to basketball. And I saw all these great basketball moments, and then people started trickling it down to like baseball, basketball. I did see some wrestling. I did see some things that weren't appropriate, but end up on Twitter. But it's just stuff that's like you have to be the exception. You have to be, and I agree with you. It can't just be based off accomplishment. Like it sets you apart from the rest. Like I feel like a I am him moment is Kobe winning his first championship if it's basketball related, that type of thing. So it just has to be like you're the ultimate exception. Like there's people that can imitate you, but they can never be you.
That's how I would define it. What you think, Justin?
I have no.
It's basically going above and beyond like the normal parameters of like what you think of like greatness is. I think of like when Jordan dropped like what was it 63 in the Boston Garden, like what his first or second playoff game, and was just rocking an all-time historic Boston Celtics team, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? This is just beyond like, or like LeBron in 2018 when he goes 1v5 against the Warriors and drops like 50 and a triple double, and you're just like, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. And then in wrestling, it's just one of those like, we know great wrestlers and great matches, but it's the moments that really stand out that you're just like, holy shit, either I've never seen that before, or like this person just went above and beyond and just put on like the match of their life. Like that type of thing where it's almost like you see greatness, but then you kind of have like an outer body experience of like, I am him, I am her. This is my fucking moment, and all y'all are my witnesses. Watch what I do. Like that's what like Himothy or Hermithy, like that type of stuff, or his story or her story. Like that's where all that comes from. Is basically like you boss up, you know, it's leveling up and hitting like that. Just like, I didn't even know you had this in you type of peakness.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And especially I really enjoy being able to be like reminded a lot of these moments, the I'm her moments in women's wrestling, because you know, wrestling's all about moments. Like that turns the tide for things. So the fact that there were so many moments that women had that we could have like talked about on the show, we tried to narrow it down. So I want to get into, so Dylan mentioned AJ Lee. So a lot of people tweeted about AJ Lee's pipe bomb. Like that was an I'm her moment. And I could say that absolutely was. You know, I have my thoughts on it. It's you know, it's a polarizing thing, which is what wrestling is. How do you guys feel about this moment? I know I wanted to talk about this, especially because I know Seindole is an AJ Lee fan, particularly. How was this I'm her moment? What did that do for you?
It was a moment because it came because most of AJ Lee's career at first was tied to being with men. I actually tweeted that you can't deny that at that time, AJ Lee basically ran the brands. Like she was crazy. Then she was dealing with John Cena. Then she had the whole GM moment. She became a GM at her wedding. Like she ran it. And then when she became a champion, it kind of became amplified. Mm-hmm. The difference between the pipe bomb and I feel like the pipe shell, they call it like, what do they call it? A pipe shell or whatever is because
I never heard that before.
People call it a pipe bombshell. There we go. It was called a pipe bombshell. Is because she was saying a lot of what people were already saying, but just in an amplified way of this is me. Like, this is what sets me apart. And that's why I say, like, it sets me apart from all of you. I don't need a reality show to be great. I could do great things without a camera backstage. I can do great things without being relevant. You guys are here for reality TV. I'm here for I'm here for WWE. And I think while a lot of people thought it was burying Total Divas at the time, other people were like, well, she has a point. Like, you don't have this is based on a reality show. You don't have a lot of you guys wrestling. You're still wrestling for 10 minutes. Like, what is the show doing? But people have to think of the aftermath of that. AJ Lee had one of the longest reigns in the Divas Championship. People were noticing the Divas Championship to the point where when it went to Paige and then went to Nikki, people started paying attention to it more and paying attention to Total Divas. So people I feel like they underestimate that moment until it's brought up lately that AJ Lee didn't do enough for the division. I'm like, yo, she did a lot more than what y'all think she did. It wasn't just storyline with men. It was making sure the championship had relevancy again. Because the butterfly belt at one point did not.
She was, honestly, she was a lot like her husband. She was the martyr, because everything she fought for, we got with the 4 horsewomen and so forth. But a lot of the stuff AJ Lee was fighting for, and it's so unfortunate that she can't bask in the fruits of her labor.
Right.
For everything that Seindole just said. Can you just imagine an AJ Lee, Becky
A lot
Lynch
of that is by choice.
Right.
As far as what?
And her health.
Of her not being a part of things.
Yep.
Yeah,
like,
but
like I get your point, but also like I gotta put that out there too.
Yeah, her health. Right. It's a big thing.
But you know, it's just it's the part that's unfortunate is that we couldn't get those type of matches sooner. Like when she said everything she said, obviously nothing happens overnight, but you just think about like the when they called up when they had all the 3 teams, right? When they called up Sasha, Becky and Charlotte. Like even then, like it took us too long to get there. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like it's just unfortunate where we did see Punk leave because of he couldn't take it anymore. But because of CM Punk, we got Seth Rollins, we got Daniel Bryan, etc. Because of AJ Lee, we got women being taken more seriously. And I just wish and hope she gets her just due to go in the Hall of Fame one day. Because at the time I was doing a show with an idiot that I had to argue with about, he said she wasn't a Hall of Famer.
And then that's where I agree with you, Brian, because it's like, yo, and no shade, no tea, but like I can't remember the last time a female had everybody paying attention the way she paid attention. Yes, it took Punk. Yes, it took John Cena. Yes, it took her to jump into Kane's arm, which was weird, by the way. Always gonna think that's weird. But like people talk about the wedding, the Raw episode wedding. Like, if you didn't care, you would never talk about that wedding, right? Think of what the ripple effect was after that promo happened. It was a big ripple effect. Like, y'all have to also think, and people want to disrespect. I feel like it's disrespectful to say she's not a Hall of Famer. Name one WrestleMania before WrestleMania New Orleans where that title was defended. Name one. I'll wait for somebody to put in the comments. Not one. It was the first time the championship was ever defended. And I don't think if it wasn't for that, and I'm going to give a little bit of credit to Total Divas being on TV, it would have never happened. She probably would have never had a WrestleMania career had she not had that belt, had she not beat them. The Bellas would have never gotten any notoriety. It made the division a lot more attentive to. And I agree with you when you say it's unfortunate that she wasn't there. And a lot of people did get credit, but also I think it lit a fire under everyone's ass to be like, okay, she's right. Now what we going to do in order to make sure they give us the actual chance, and look what happened from there.
Right. I think too, one of the things that makes it like an I'm her moment is because of the fact she was able to speak off the cuff, because she was like, you know, as a woman, like she was given the mic and she, you know, she said a lot of crazy things and the Bellas were upset. And I think I have mixed feelings about it because you read it from the Bellas perspective in their book, and then you hear from AJ Lee's perspective, and then you just think of how that's really a microcosm of just like how women are represented in wrestling. Like if you really look at the things that she was saying, because a lot of the things were borderline misogynistic. So it really it's a very interesting promo, and no one else like could have delivered it better than
Right.
AJ because
But
of what for.
you had to peak ears at some point, and if it had to be misogynistic, though,
right,
nobody was going to pay attention if it was just all bubbles and sparkles. They would have just went to the bathroom. But because she stated how she stated it, people's ears perked up to where everybody made a conversation.
100. I
Facts.
100% agree. And like some things just like need to be said.
Sometimes you gotta hurt people's feelings, whether you like it or not. It's like it has to be said, it has to be delivered this way. If you feel a way about it, you know what? At some point down the road, you'll build a bridge and get over it. But right now, be in your feelings because this needs to be said like this right now.
Mm-hmm. And sadly, like things in wrestling kind of like the best things are like borderline real. Like the best things are like, I love that the Bella Twins like visibly upset because it just made you feel it. You know what I mean?
Were they the ones that were like shouting through like the promo and stuff like that? Because like that's my only nitpick of AJ's pipe bomb is like the women kind of like interjecting in the middle of it, so where it's like it kind of takes me out of what AJ's saying because of all like the cutting back to the other women and like them screaming at her. I'm just like, so am I supposed to be paying attention to her and what she's saying or what you're saying?
And that was my biggest problem with that promo. Like how you should have listened. And it was like, I understand they're playing heel, but then I feel like they did take it really personally when, and this is the madness between Vinnie Mac, because we learn later on in her book that Vince told her to go out there and do just that, like speak what she wanted to say. And like I don't know whether they were blindsided. I don't know whether they took it personally. Maybe there was some type of animosity towards her backstage. I don't know. Wasn't there for that. But I feel like if they hadn't took it so personally, it would have peaked up because it felt kind of selfish. Like just listen to what she's saying. And then in the Bella's book, I understand they felt some type of way because obviously they were there before her and she's getting this big moment to tell them about themselves coming from her. I felt like they were a little personally offended. But again, it's a light and fire.
Right.
I was gonna say this, ladies. You brought up a point about the feeling kind of both ways about it, right? And so I'm sitting there listening to y'all because y'all coming from a woman's perspective, and I'm wondering, could AJ have gotten her point across without offending the Bella Twins, or did she have to do it? Like, for instance, if you ask somebody who about the Austin 316 promo, right? And for people who say, well, yeah, it was sacrilegious, but he needed it in order to go to this level, right? He needed to say Austin 316. He couldn't have said, and that's the bottom line, and ended it with that, right? Do you think do you think AJ Lee could have hit a home run and had that I'm her moment without calling out what she believed the Bella Twins did in order to advance?
But it wasn't just the Bellas, though.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like, and it goes to the point of the Trish conversation. Like we said, she got to go harder for us to, really be convinced. So like, I think it had to be said also because that was the narrative already.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's like, okay, like let's push on that, especially for the simple fact that Nikki, you are dating the top guy. Like there's an advantage to that. Like, let's be real. Like, you guys are reality stars and you guys are being put front and center because you're on a reality show. There's truth to that.
Right. She said what everyone was thinking.
That's when you get that like reaction. You know what I mean? Like, wrestling is not an easy business. Like, like some things are necessary, and it is what it is. Like one storyline that I know, like, to some people was like so outrageous was I don't know if you guys remember Natalya and Ruby Riott and some of the things that Ruby Riott was saying and how Natty was like representing her dad and everything. A lot of people were appalled. But when you come from a wrestling family, that kind of comes with the territory, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it is what it is what it is. Kind of vibe. So it's like, if AJ Lee is gonna have a pipe bomb, then fucking go for that shit.
Right. And the last thing I want to touch on it is that, like I said, she was saying things that people were already saying. Like, when people saw Total Divas, they're like, okay, we're going to get backstage access, like an access show. And the first 4 episodes, I see Nikki Bella driving John's car. I see Brie trying to take her relationship seriously with Daniel Bryan. I see Natty being annoying as fuck. I see someone who's trying to be a diva go against authority in WWE, and most people are like they're hooked, but other people are like, what the fuck am I watching? Which when Patricia and Krista talked about it on their episode on AJ Lee, they talked about how Total Divas was kind of there to bring an outside audience to the show. But what about the people that were already there? Like, what about the other women that were backstage? The Rosa and the all the other
Rosa
talent
Menendez.
that was Menendez and all the people that weren't on the show. What about them? Because you weren't featuring them that much. You were only featuring AJ Lee with a storyline. The only opponents that AJ Lee literally would have had to have without Total Divas, we don't even know if AJ Lee would have had opponents because she went up against everybody, and all those matches were featured on Total Divas. Like one of the matches, Nikki was upset that she couldn't go out with her sister because Brie was out there in a fatal 4-way getting the belt. So if I got to take a match and light a fire under your ass somehow, it all played into it. But it just seemed like a lot of miscommunication being crossed. Could she have done it without throwing everybody under the bus? Yeah, but would y'all have cared? No.
That's the point.
Right.
Like I said, that's what.
Well, did Rosa want to be on the show? Because I think back to like when I started watching Total Divas, and I remember the 4 Horsewomen, all of them were like, absolutely the fuck not. Sasha was like, don't you ever put me on this shit. Charlotte was like, don't you ever put me on this shit. And even Becky was like, hell to the no.
Right.
Bayley was the only one that's like, if you're gonna get a Horsewoman, maybe her. And even she's kind of like, I'd rather not, but thank you. So
they gave us Alexa Bliss, which I love Alexa Bliss. Her and her pig, that was cute.
But that makes sense. That's the thing.
Then,
like some of them were down to do it, and some of them were like, absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah, and then Hearts pointed out because I feel like I stopped watching the show with Nia Jax because the way she came for Carmella, I ain't like that. Like you didn't have to come out swinging your fist.
I mean, Nia came for everyone on that show.
She was annoying. She was turning into Natty.
The villain, but also like not everybody can be a reality star too.
Right.
Like not everybody can do that shit. Like I feel like the people that were meant to do it were to do it, and they took the opportunity for what it did. But you like also like wrestling is one of like that gatekeeping shit. Like you're bringing reality TV into wrestling.
Yep.
Right.
Like to some people that shit is wild. Like to this day. And we're absolutely having a Total Divas episode of Fan Club. Like
I was like, we get the next person. I don't know if it's the next person, but it was somebody I can't wait to talk about.
I
that
am
was
down
on the
for
show.
it. My favorites were Trinity and John. I love Jimmy Uso.
No, we gotta do the fan club.
Have you seen Natty's pussy? I cannot believe they got away with this shit. I was like, wait, you can say that?
The cat.
I remember that.
They were all at Natty's house, and I think they were looking for one of Natty's like 17,000 cats, and he was just, have you seen her pussy?
Yeah,
and
because what was it? John and Trinity had a house party because they were house sitting the house, and they lost the cat. The cat was in the neighborhood, and they was like, "Have you seen the pussy?" And what's his name was like, Titus O'Neil's like, "What?"
Like, that's what I was. I was like, "Hey, yo, you can say that. You can get away with that."
And then the last point I want to make, though, in all honesty, I know AJ Lee said no, but I feel like, would you imagine if she had ended up on the show? Like that would have been like. That would have been Young and the Restless. Who's the biggest fight on Young and the Restless? I gotta think. Whoever Phyllis is going up against on Young and the Restless.
Phyllis and Diane right
and
now.
Diane. That would have been nuclear. But reality TV ain't for everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no to that only because like if you know a little bit about AJ Lee and like her mental, that probably would have made it 20 times worse if she was on that. Because that would have just been like, I need me time, and you got these cameras in my face 24/7. That could have just made shit worse. And
I was just gonna say, like, private people don't do reality TV because then you're quote unquote boring, and then they manufacture drama for you.
Right.
And that's just like not something I could see AJ Lee and like
her husband would have been down for it because he seemed like the type of person to tell you when he's bleeding from the neck. But
or I'm going through some like real life shit behind the scenes, and I don't want a fucking camera to catch like the emotions when it's like, yo, I'm really going through something, or my family's really going through something, and I don't want this recorded. And you don't make those decisions. Right. You can make the suggestion, but there's someone higher up that's gonna be like, keep the cameras going at all times because you never know. Everything's content. Look at how the Kardashians made their $1 billion fortune.
Right. So we're definitely gonna do a full on Total Divas fan club and
I'm
also
with
just
it.
talking about probably for the
I'm with
next
it.
one, depending on what happens in the wrestling world. And I also just want to talk about reality TV in general because I'm one of those people. You know, AEW has one now. The Rhodes had one. Bianca Belair is gonna have one. So we could really like get into that. And so like I'm one of
Bring
those
it
people.
to the club.
I like it.
So we'll get into that. So come back next week for that. So
Content.
the next, I love it. The next I'm her moment that a lot of people brought up, and Dre, Dylan, a lot of people brought up Nikki as well, is Bianca Belair. She is the definition of I'm her, but I want to talk about specifically the obstacle course that she did, because I think that's a moment where a lot of people she really was her feud with Bailey. I'm sorry, my
Bless you, boo.
Peak is at 5 sneezes. That's what's on a scale of 1 to 5 sneezes. She said, "Tongue
out." Like,
Justin, what?
She's on a scale of 1 to 5. When you get that, she
thank
like 5.
thank you.
Gesundheit. Gunther.
Thank you.
I ain't touching that one.
But a lot of people looked at that moment and really was like, okay, Bianca Belair is truly the EST. Like, she can literally do it all. Thank you. Like, I want to talk about like easy. Do you guys remember this?
She picked up a 330-pound man and fireman carried him with ease. You know how fucking impossible that is without blowing up a knee ligament, a quad, an Achilles, and she was just like, "Come here, I got you." Wham! And then walked with ease, like, bro.
No, 1,000%.
That should be a thing, the Bianca challenge, where it's like, take like 10 things Bianca Belair has done that's blown our mind and be like, okay, everyday people, can you do this? Can you pick up a 300-pound man? Let's see. Hashtag Bianca challenge.
That could be a course. Oh, I actually like that idea.
But you know, the thing about it was, yeah, it was inside the Thunderdome. That's one of those moments I wish that they could redo in front of a live audience, right? Excuse me. A lot of moments in the Thunderdome we know was, you know, edited for video purposes. Not that one. Because like you see, and I'm gonna pull it back up on the screen, but you literally see her with him. You can't edit that. Like, sure, but you know, and Otis is solid. Like, he's not just, you know, he is muscle. So
that is a bowling ball with legs.
Yep.
Right. So
1,000%.
Yeah, so shout out to her. And I mean, just strength. Like, look at the episode with her and of Coldest Balls.
Hey.
Where she's on, because you see, like, she is defined. Like, I'm like, man, I was in the gym today. I'm like, I'm trying to get my shoulders and my arms like Bianca.
Do you see why I be in the gym the way I do? I be sitting there. I'm like, you know, let me get up and get my shit together. Start disowning Wendy's and shit. Like, I'm like, damn,
hard,
like, what I gotta do? It's hard.
A better episode is like her on Sheamus's Celtic Warrior Workouts channel
Yo.
on YouTube, where they work out. Sheamus is in fantastic shape, and then Bianca puts them to shame like with ease, because this is when Bianca was still cutting for her competition, and she was just working. I was just like, wow.
See, I ain't watching that because that's gonna make me, you know. I see,
between those two and Riddle, you'll be like, yeah. I never want to eat fast food ever again. Because
between her, Riddle, and Kofi with his 100 crunches before a workout, I was like, excuse me,
right? Or running the treadmill,
I was like, oh no. I was like, y'all would not see me on Flag Club for like 6 months, and then I'll come back looking like this, and you'll be like, well, goddamn, like that's just respect to dedication, in my opinion, and that just shows me that a lot of people don't take the ease of going from athlete to WWE superstar. Bianca, I feel like, is one of those that's been able to show you that it's capable to be both.
Yep.
And that's why it's I'm her moment.
It's 2 Ds, dedication and discipline.
Exactly.
You gotta have the discipline. I'm like, look at Bianca's schedule where she's wrestling, she's traveling, she's this and that. How many times do they talk about, even at midnight, they go to the nearest 24-hour gym and get it in, regardless.
I love to like we were gonna talk about a specific Bianca Belair moment. That's I'm her moment because she's just so phenomenal. Like people like look at everything in the comments we'll get into, but we can't talk about Bianca Belair because we're definitely gonna go into more of her I'm her moment without bringing on
Yes, my good
better
sis.
half,
Hey,
Miss.
Get them shoulders loose.
wait, hold on. You gotta. There you go. you gotta
loosen up them shoulders.
You gotta
Gotta
whip
get
the
them
shades
hips.
out and go
Gotta get them
Hollywood.
hips.
You better know your role and shut your mouth.
100%. Oh wait, hold on. Hey, boo.
Hey.
Hit him with the eyebrow.
I can't do the eyebrow.
I got you.
Perfect. He hit it perfectly.
Hey y'all.
What up?
Hello.
I promise you guys I was not gonna join. I was in the comments supporting and all that, but
The Nile is a river in Egypt.
She drove past the club and was like, you know what? It's popping tonight. I want in. Coming through the back door.
She was gonna go home and curl up with a book and watch a movie, but then she saw the lights from outside the club and she was like, "Oh no, I got to get in the club. I don't wait in the line.
If I was about to say it, she don't wait in the line.
She don't wait in lines."
Nope.
So, I do love the fact that you guys are speaking of I am her moments, and I was gonna put my own I am hers in the comment because I don't want to take away from what you guys already have, but I had to text P like, "Hey, I need to come over here and talk about my good sis Bianca because if anyone knows her, you know, like what she does. Out of the many times that I've spoken to her, have had conversations with her, just interviewing Bianca and learning about her training." When like her lifting up Otis was not a surprise or a shock to me. Her being able to not prove, but just show and remind people why she is the EST, the roughest, the roughest, the toughest, the quickest, the fastest, all of that of WWE was not a surprise to me. Her putting a KOD on Doudrop was not a surprise to me. Bianca Belair is definitely the definition of I am her. And I literally seen that when my very first time interviewing her, when she was still in NXT, when we was literally at the beginning of, not the beginning of COVID, I'm sorry, but literally in the beginning stages when she was starting to get her notoriety. And even in NXT, she was just doing things that other people were not doing or that we haven't really seen in a long time. Like, yes, we've seen the athleticism from Alicia Fox and from Naomi when they were on the main roster and Bianca was doing what she was doing in NXT. But for you to bring that to the main roster, not on one show, but on both shows, be champion for both shows at different points in time, and to continue to prove yourself in ways that's not even just athleticism. Bianca's I am her because she's the definition of the Black woman. She's the representation for the Black woman. Do I need to remind y'all the amazing entrance she had, not just at this year's WrestleMania, but last year's WrestleMania? How she just incorporates and she loves on everybody, and she literally stands in her truth about being unapologetically you and taking up your space. Cheap plugs. Stay tuned because that brunch is back real soon. Anyway,
yay.
So I really had to come on here and give Bianca her props. She is the definition of I am her. Like,
what's one of your like all-time favorite Bianca moments?
Boom. Ooh.
I think one of my all-time favorite Bianca moments was we were in the studio, and I was still riding on the train, y'all. I had to rush to get to the studio before she left, and she had just did an interview with Ebro in the morning, and they come out the studio, and I don't know if you guys seen the video where Bianca carries Ebro on her shoulders. And
my God.
Yeah, that's on YouTube. I've seen that. It's on YouTube.
Yes, and I believe it's on Hot 97 TikTok if you guys decide to go up there. And it's that that the voiceover was like, you're probably wondering how I got in this position. And she's talking about, Ebro was somebody, I think Rosenberg or Laura asked her, can you dead man carry Ebro? And she was like, yeah, for sure. She took off her heels, gave somebody the belt to hold, And mind you, I think she was champion for that long because she still had the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And she dead man carried Ebro. And then she was also talking about how her and Rhea, like, it'd be times where Bianca is tired. Like Justin says, discipline and I forgot dedication or determination, whatever the other D was. And she was like, Rhea would literally get off of a 3, 4, 5 hour flight, not even go to her hotel, go straight to a gym with her luggage to work out. And she's like, it's because of that she would go and be alongside her, work out, do whatever it is that she needs to do. So that was an I'm her moment. Another I'm her moment was the fact that she recognizes all of her fans. She recognizes, she acknowledges, she accepts, she uplifts, she motivates. What can't she do? Like, that's her I am her moment.
Did anyone watch her Coldest Balls episode with Kevin Hart? Because that was really, really good.
Yeah, I didn't watch it yet.
I didn't watch it yet. All I see is a clip of Montez like putting Kevin Hart in his place with that ice bucket.
That was his twin. You gotta pay attention to his Twitter. He said that was his twin brother.
And I love the fact that she's so relatable because, like, even in that clip, and she was like, "Oh, he's kind of cute." That's a typical. Like, ain't that your husband?
Your security.
She's very much relatable. She's always humble, and it's not enough that I can say or can't say about the EST WWE Bianca Belair.
Yes, we love Bianca Belair. She's definitely top 10. Shout out to Sis because she's definitely a friend of the show.
Definitely, no, she's family. We already
She's
gave that family.
Yes, she's absolutely family. We dropped our interview with her on YouTube.
If she's family, then hey, cousin.
It's gonna be at all the cookouts.
I'm gonna be at the family reunion, like, yeah, I'm that distant cousin from that auntie twice removed. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen each other. I just finally came across the seas, like.
They're gonna be like, we got a Puerto Rican in our family.
Yes,
we got a Puerto Rican.
It's gonna be like Poetic Justice. It'll be like cousin.
You never know.
I said on Worldwide today, I was telling Ben and Cal, I said, you know, one of the first headline we did was the fact that she wants to win over Charlotte, and I said I was ready. I was all set. You know, earlier I said Trish Stratus is the greatest of all time. I was set to give Charlotte that next. Then in NXT I looked and there was Bianca and it was kind of like she said hold up, and when I saw them two in the ring together at that moment I said, oh, this is money. Now granted that match wasn't what it could have been, and there's word on the streets like a lot of politics involved, but whenever we get that match and when she beats Charlotte, because it's going to happen, we know that, but she's going to prove why, like, it's just going to be like writing her signature on, like, yes, this is why I'm the greatest and I will be the greatest of all time. I truly feel that when it's all said and done, it's going to be Bianca Belair. No offense to anybody else, but I think she's going to be the total complete package.
I agree.
100%.
I agree.
I can definitely see it. It's like we're witnessing with like Sasha and Charlotte. They're like the original Terminator. Bianca's the T-1000. She's the hybrid. She's the evolution of, like, you thought this is the baseline. Now I'm about to be LeBron James, and you're just gonna be like everyone else in the NBA, just like, this is not even fair because I can't do what she does. I can't do what they do. It's like, yeah, that's what makes her special.
Yep. And
you're not here to be fair. You're here to be the exception.
You're here to stand out.
Yep. 1,000%. Just a reminder too that we are watching Dynamite in the fan club while we talk about these I'm her moments. So make sure you turn that on. Let us know if there's something good happening.
The pillars are on.
Talking about I'm her, Jade's another one that's going to be up there soon once he starts going for the AEW women's title.
Yeah, I need them to move that along. Like,
it's a wrap.
I'm over it.
If she goes for that women's championship, Matt, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Because not a lot of women are going to be able to say they held both titles.
Nobody else can, right?
She'll be the first.
Yeah, exactly. That TBS title is gorgeous. We got a selfie with it at Wale Mania. That belt is gorgeous, but it's
gorgeous because she's gorgeous.
Excuse me.
You know.
It just now, honestly, it just feels like an accessory because none of her defenses are like competitive.
Yep.
Like it's and I think they dropped the ball with Taya Valkyrie. I think that could have been like a reasonable person to take it from her, but it is what it is. So wait, who was she? Who was the match against Dylan? But yeah, Jade is definitely her. She's definitely one of one. Like I don't think there's anybody else that's out there like Jade Cargill. But we're gonna take a break and we'll get into some more I'm her moments. Krista B, thank you for stopping by the club.
No, welcome. I'm about to start. I'm going back to the brand management side of things. I love you all.
I love you.
Love you, Bill.
Wait, like
I have one more.
Wait, if you could describe everything that we have cooking in like one word, how would you describe it?
That we got going on right now?
That we got going on in the work, things we got in the works.
One word, I would have to say, y'all just gonna have to stay tuned. Ain't no word.
If Krista be speechless, that means that it's the real.
It's big.
It really is. I have one more I'm her moment, and I sent it to the group. Naomi becoming the very first woman to win the her battle royal at WrestleMania. So I got to say, y'all go look into that.
That was a dope moment. She was the first one, I think, that won.
Yeah, she's the
She
first
was.
ever.
That was the inaugural women's battle royal. That was Sasha and Bailey at the end, and everyone thinking, "Oh, they're finally gonna have their moment." Bailey tosses out Sasha, and at the very last second, here comes Naomi. Like, you forgot about me. Tosses out Bailey. Naomi.
So
WrestleMania 33 wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. WrestleMania 34 becomes the first woman to ever win the Women's Battle Royal.
Hold on, you can't talk about the 33.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that because I'm jumping off and I got to go back to that. So I love you all. Thank you for letting me join. And stay tuned. We're back with Sound Off on Friday. See y'all later.
Yes, let's get it.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Krista B, one half of those wrestling girls, and we hope that you're enjoying this current episode that we have for you. You know I had to come in here, interject, and plug ourselves real quick. We want to tell you about our merch exclusively on foryourwear.com. That's right, For Your Wear has all of those wrestling girls merch that you want and need, not only for yourself, but for your friends, your family, and your loved ones. We have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we have tank tops. So please go over to foryourwear.com to make sure you get those exclusive merch, those exclusive deals, and tell them that TWG sent you.
Love that music. Everyone give Krista B some love. Thank you for stopping by. We couldn't talk about Bianca Belair without bringing Krista B on. Like that's sis for real.
It's the non-negotiable agreement right there.
Yep. So in that merch video, also get your hoodies while hoodie season is like creeping away, because we have another merch drop coming. But seeing Seindole rocking her Crocs in that merch video reminded me of Jay Bougie, and I just want to
shout out to the homie Jay Bougie.
Him and Chyna, they are expecting a little boy.
Jake Future King of New York.
Talk about buns in the oven. He's like, I got one cooking right here. There you go.
Fan club exclusive. So yeah, so like, a lot of people I don't know if you guys know, but Jay Bougie is my god brother, and he has been killing it in the wrestling scene, and he was like the first like baby in the family after my sister and I, because we were the youngest. So he's like my little brother. So now that like he's having a baby, it's just like, oh my gosh. Oh yeah, shout out to them.
Brother, don't get carried away.
He has a match this Friday in Ridgeville Park, and for my vlog, I will be there in full attendance. So I can't wait to shoot that footage.
Find my way to Richfield then.
You across the bridge, you already know I'm gonna take your ass home. Just come. We didn't have this discussion already, but he will be going up against a member of STP. He said on his Twitter, and Brian can attest to this, that he will go through them one by one, and I want to see that up close and personal. So I can't wait for that.
Big plans coming. Trust me. It's more.
There's
It's
always
more.
something cooking in J Bougie land.
Yes.
It's more than now. He got more to fight for. So
Yep.
Yep.
he
like I be
already
saying,
took out a member of the bloodline. How many people can say that? I'm just
That
saying.
part.
It's like I be saying on Twitter. It's the rise of bougie. He's just getting started.
Can we start this hashtag in the club? Let's start it in the club, but let's like make a trend.
Yeah. Hashtag the rise of bougie.
The rise of bougie. I like that.
Go ahead and tweet that.
What is it?
I'm gonna tweet that, bro.
That way,
Yes,
when
let's
he
do
that
that
way
right
when
now.
he hits the big time, you can be like, "Yo, we've been on this train since the beginning. Jump on now. We still got cars and seats available because when it takes off, brother, that kid is going to the moon, and we're gonna make sure him and Shayla and all them go to the moon."
Oh, 1,000%. So shout out to family. Oh my god. Wait, so 25 is this the 25th episode of Fan Club?
Oh shit, it is.
Hold on. Is it?
No, we got one. We got two more.
Okay.
We have one more.
We gotta check the archives to verify this, Dylan.
Can our producer check these facts real quick?
I'm looking now.
I like saying that. Shout out to production on the track.
Brian, aren't you a podcast producer?
Hey,
Day job?
Yeah, they say the super producer.
You know what they say? The boy has multiple jobs.
Yeah.
The boy has multiple jobs.
His jobs got jobs.
His positions have positions. He is employed.
Really? That's why I love the fan. I love it. So really quickly while we fact check this and get into more.
We're on episode 23. No, 22.
We have
23. I'm sorry.
We have three more.
Hard drive is back.
No, we have two more.
So we got our Mike Jordan 23.
Yeah. So what should we do,
LeBron.
guys? Everyone, start thinking. Everyone that's in the club tonight that comes to the club regularly, what should we do special for our 25th episode? What do you want to talk about? Because I know y'all are all a part of the club. Y'all are all a part of the crew. What do y'all want to see us talk about?
Let me copy my new favorite NXT diva, Tiffany Strat, and say I just had a Seindole scenario. Boom. What if we bring on? What if we bring on a honorary member of the fan club? I mean, we talking about the people that religiously tune in to see what we say. We're talking about the one person that if they came to the club because we ain't seen them in a while and it was our VIP section, we put them in our VIP section. I don't know. It's an idea.
Hey, I like that.
I think we should have a production meeting about
when
it.
you're at the club and the DJ takes requests, it's like, all right, take a personal request. Boom, about to drop this.
I'm just saying.
Put that in consideration.
We can put it in consideration. Let's put it in the box.
Yeah,
we definitely will do that. But we're very excited about that, Dylan. Thank you for even recognizing that we're like close to 25 episodes. That's actually a good segue because I forgot to mention this when CRISTA was on the stream, but we are officially Twitch affiliates.
Yes.
And that would not be possible without. Thank you. It wouldn't be possible without you guys on the stream, Brian, Seindole, Justin, Krista B, Christina, anyone that comes to the fan club every week, anyone that joins into a stream, you retweet our stream, you post our Twitch link, you are a part of that. So I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Because like I said, it is not easy to stream consistently every week. Everyone on the stream are like some of the busiest people I've ever met in my life. And the fact that you guys take the time out to join me on the stream, you guys took this chance with me, and now we are here. So I just want to just say thank you.
Thank you. You was doing this weekly, and I know I was tuning in and a huge fan of it, and I got an invite, and next thing you know, when we all got invites and you just recognized it, and it's like you talk about I'm her moment. That's one of yours, one of your I'm her moments where you recognize like this is it. This is talent.
Yeah.
This is
I was like, this is like work.
She got in her
you
GM
know,
bag
it
and was
worked.
like, you know what? I need to acquire talent. So I need to get this superstar forward with this superstar
Oh my
producer,
God, I
with
put
this
together a
extraordinary
faction,
talented
we'll
vlogger,
see.
and then this Puerto Rican that loves to talk random shit, but he's somehow engaging. Boom, bring him into the fold. Bring him to training camp.
Not the Puerto Rican that likes to talk random shit. Wait, what?
The illustration.
Hey, let's keep it a buck. Before last summer, the only way people knew me was through social media. I wasn't content creating at all until you guys put the bug in my ear at WrestleMania Dallas, and then really started putting the bug in my ear from STP versus Takeover all the way through the summer. And by the time we got to that Bad Bunny concert in New York City, that's when we were like, yo, we ready to fucking run. Where do I start?
And look where we are. Look where we are. We love it. And we love you guys. We love especially everyone that comes to the club every week. We love you guys. But let's get back into these I'm her moments. I want to talk about one that literally gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. And I bought this beautiful illustration by Lauren Moran. Shout out to her. She's a wonderful artist. But Becky Lynch getting her face broken by Nia Jax ended up becoming an I'm her moment, I think 1,000%. But ironically, also created the man persona. Did you guys watch that live? Like looking back, how do you guys feel about this moment?
So I caught that live. I didn't realize she got concussed from the Nia Jax punch until like the next day and stuff like that, because like it was first you had the invasion, you had the whole buildup of like Becky Lynch turning into the man. And then I remember when they came to DC for SmackDown 1000 when she's confronting Edge, and it really started to take shape of like who the man really is and this character that she's going to be. And then going into Survivor Series where now you have the brand warfare, but where she's about to go heads up with Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet, who's going through, just became champion at SummerSlam, was going through run as the Raw Women's Champion and was establishing herself. And then just the invasion where she beats the shit out of Ronda. The SmackDown women are beating up everyone. She's about to go 1-on-9. And then the punch happens. Yep. Salute to Nia Jax, I guess. And then she's just got a bloody face, the crimson mask and whatnot. And she's looking like Stone Cold. She's looking like Bret Hart. She's looking like all the badasses from yesteryear, where she's just still on autopilot, still kicking ass, still doing all that, and has zero fucks about, yo, my face is like beyond busted open. And it was just so cool. And then to see her go up the steps, looking back at Ronda, talking shit, and then get into the top of the steps and just like, come at me, bro. That was just like, that may be one of the best women's segments I've seen in a minute. Because I left that just like, yo, if Becky's not a badass, then what the hell, how do we qualify this if this ain't a badass moment?
You know, the thing about this, right? It was like the culmination of everything. Like we compare Becky a lot to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I'm going to do in this case, and it's with high regards, not like, you know, just we saw Austin building before the promo. Like if you look at Stone Cold before the Austin 316 promo, you saw him being obnoxious. You saw him saying stuff, and he was just always in the Gorilla Monsoon, right? So with Becky, I'll never forget. This is June of that year, she had lost to Mandy Rose. And I was sitting next to our good friend Corey, shout out to my Kicks on My Fix. And he literally leaned over and says, bro, they got to get Becky going again. Because she had a whole SmackDown Women's Championship run when she was the last kicker. But nobody talks about that unless you tune into Those Wrestling Girls on the YouTube channel or in the podcast platforms. Download it on everywhere you can get it from. So we saw like she was kind of like trending downward. But then it was like finally that switch went off, and then everything with her and Charlotte. And when, you know, she lost it at SummerSlam, and then we saw her rising up, and it was just like you was watching everything Becky was doing. But when this moment happened, that was it. And it was like the ultimate, even though it took her out of the Survivor Series match, she still would have been I'm her if she doesn't have this moment. But this just kind of solidified her as a top person in the company, not just a top woman, but a top person in the company, because it was everywhere and she immediately became must-see TV.
I agree. 1,000%. I remember the moment, like I remember where I was in the moment when I watched it. I remember being like, is she bleeding? Like, oh shit, what happened? But I think we forget that it honestly started, and why I feel like the punch kind of, like, if it didn't happen, it would have still been a great moment, because before that, the invasion was dope. Because remember, there was all this commotion, and then all of a sudden the camera's running backstage, and Becky has Ronda in an armbar.
Yeah.
So Becky's momentum was already there, because remember, they were like they weren't making Ronda look weak in any way. So the fact that Becky was able to sneak up on Ronda, put her in an armbar during an invasion, was already them being high on Becky Lynch. So her getting punched in the face literally was like the tipping point of just like, oh shit, this is fucking badass. And the other thing too is like, it was badass in the moment, but when you learn that she was concussed, and when you learn that she was on autopilot, that's when it like the respect level goes up even higher. And that's when it's like, okay, I'm her moment 100%. She wasn't meant to be in that Survivor Series match. Like this was the moment that Becky Lynch needed to propel her. And again, wrestling is moments. This moment, the imagery, like that photo, like it's so fucking iconic. Like it's so badass. Like, yeah, this was.
I still want that match though, man. I still want that one-on-one match.
It ended up being a blessing, and it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because we didn't get the Survivor Series match, we got the Royal Rumble moment where she comes out. She's not supposed to be in the Rumble. She takes, was it Lana's spot? That crowd goes ape shit. I think Bailey said like that's the loudest pop she's ever been a part of. And then I have her turn around, wrestle twice in one night, because she put on a banger with Asuka earlier that night, and then to win the Rumble was just like, I remember being mad over Survivor Series.
I remember being mad. Yeah, I didn't like the fact that she was in, because I wanted her to do what she did, which was win the Royal Rumble. But I just didn't like, I'm thinking traditional. You don't get the championship match, you get the Mania match, So that's where my head was. But I like the way they did it.
See, I differ, because I don't look at it as Becky's moment, but like Asuka doesn't get a lot of these moments on big four pay-per-views. So I also look at it as like Asuka getting that win was very big for her. And then it also comes around full circle a year later when they wrestle again at Royal Rumble the next year. And Becky's like, I want that win back. And this is when Becky is the fucking man. And it's like, I've gone through everyone. I haven't beaten you. And I haven't forgotten this loss that propelled this. And I want that damn loss turned into a W. Running back.
Yep. So would you say Becky entering the 2019 Royal Rumble is an I'm her moment? Would you guys say?
Hell yeah. It's the fact that you see Lana's in there with the ankle. Damn, I don't know if I can go. All of a sudden, Becky just comes out the back and starts walking in, strutting, and you hear the crowd just go nuclear. She's yelling at, I forget, who was it, Pat Patterson that she's yelling at? Like, or one of those like, huh?
Oh no, it was Pat Patterson.
I don't know which who she's yelling at, but you know what I'm trying to say. And then she's like, Finley. It's like, yo, put me in the match. She can't go do all this. And then eventually he's just like, but it's that whole, like, she comes out of nowhere and just strutting with confidence. And you just hear the crowd, just everyone's getting up and just going crazy because they know what's about to happen. Like, that whole thing is a moment. It's almost like Superwoman just coming out of nowhere with her cape, like, yo, I'm ready to fight. Let's go. Right.
I think that's a moment where the crowd is 1,000% necessary, because like you said, like, it was the crowd that made it that moment, because as soon as you, like, you didn't even, like, you see the like, you hear the crowd before you see Becky. And it's literally like it's literally like rising a fever pitch. And when Finley like lets her go and that crowd was like, I have goosebumps thinking about it. Like, it's so well done. I think a lot of the thing, it will I think I want to have an unpopular opinions episode about the Becky Lynch run in 2019 because I have a lot of opinions about it because I think a lot of it was like overproduced, but that's a whole nother story. I don't think her loss to Asuka is like overshadowed because of the Royal Rumble win, how she like kind of did that. So like I didn't like how that went, but the crowd sold it. 100% sold that.
Yeah. Yeah, real quick, just want to say Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter just defeated Ruby Soho and
Outcast.
Tony Storm. Yeah. You know, I'm sitting here now. They at Pittsburgh. I'm gonna be nice. They at Pittsburgh. We all know that's the home of Britt Baker, but they ain't really take advantage of it. Like, come on now. But
of course not.
that's enough. But shout out to them. It's not on at 9:30.
I mean, they ain't got much to cheer for since their Penguins not in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's 8:30. Same thing. It's a 30. Okay. It's either 8:30 or 9:30. Now Tony's like, all right. Tony's like, they coming for me. I got to change the time up.
Mm-hmm.
They're on to me.
All right. What are your thoughts
No.
on...
No. I'm sorry.
Are you talking about Dylan's comment?
Yes.
About Becky?
Yeah, I love you, Dylan, but I ain't with that.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story on the fan club before about that whole SummerSlam where like my best friend got married. We were at the reception and SummerSlam's going on, and also my phone just blows up out of nowhere, and it's just like, "Yo, Becky just won the title," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
No.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go outside while everyone's like, on the dance floor dancing, and it's a Latino wedding, so everyone's getting turned. So I'm like, I'm gonna go outside for 5 minutes because what the hell? What happened? Because I'm like, I have questions. What happened with Sasha? How did we get Becky? What happened? And I rewind it, and it's the whole Sasha can't wrestle because reasons unknown that we still don't know. All right, so Bianca's gonna face Carmella. Wait, what? All of a sudden, is that Becky Lynch's music? Oh my God, it's Becky. Holy shit. And then it's like, all right, Becky and Bianca. All right, bet. They're about to have this match. 27 seconds later. 1, 2, 3, new champion. I was just like, what the fuck just happened?
I have to find that TikTok of the little girl that was like sad watching it. Her dad posted it because I was like, that is not a good moment. Like that's
not cool.
I don't like that. The parents are mean, bro.
I had to do literally that's my daughter's first wrestling heartbreak. Like,
yeah,
really? We got
I don't like that.
Friends over at the house. We all sitting in the basement watching Bianca's match come on. She jets downstairs, jumps into my arms, and the match happens. And then it was so fast that she just looked at she, and mind you, she's 6 now. She just had the greatest night. And when Bianca won against Sasha earlier that year, and she goes, she's not the champion no more.
Yeah, it broke little girls' hearts. So I don't. That's not it. I don't like that. Right. Twitter was, and then Ricard's right. Twitter blew the hell.
I don't remember the rest. Like to me, the rest of the card didn't matter. Like
right. People were pissed, bro.
I had to turn off social media for the rest of the night because I was like, I gotta enjoy this wedding reception. But bro,
it turned me off from SummerSlam because I was like, first of all, I felt like it was disrespectful to the both of them, not just to Bianca. I felt like it was disrespectful to the both of them. Because 27 seconds, bro, we're done with this. We just argued with you about 5-minute matches. What made you think it was going to be appropriate to do that? You know what I mean?
And not just to the both of them, to the 3 of them, because you brought out Carmella for what? To get kicked to the side for Becky and Bianca to have this moment, and Carmella's supposed to do what? I'm going to fight you, take a punch, and I'm just going to go to the back like, okay, I'm not going to fight you.
And people were already annoyed that Sasha wasn't there. So like you really wanted to kick people while they were already down. It wasn't enough you kicked me in the gut. You kicked me in the face.
I love you, Becky, but where's Sasha?
Thank
right.
you. That's the whole thing. It's like we have no explanation, which is just not here. What the fuck?
Right.
Right. And then also I just want to shout out Carmella because no one mentions that she was a part of that. Like it was like, meaningless.
This is Becky, and Bianca's like, yo, so we're gonna ignore Carmella was there too, real quick. It's like, yeah, we are. It's like you said earlier with that WWE production. We're just gonna edit around this. We're just gonna ignore that Carmella was there.
That didn't happen. Like, what are you talking about? Carmella had nothing to do with it. Also, like Lana being a part of like that Rumble moment too, like and Nia Jax and like all that stuff. So, yeah.
Revisionist
Before
history.
We love you, Dylan, but that one.
no, I mean he took. He was gonna take cover. That was a very I don't know if it was her moment, but it was one of
That
those
was an
moments. So shout out to
unpopular
Becky because
opinion,
I think
Dylan.
unpopular opinion for sure. So let's move on to a moment that was absolutely an I'm her moment, and it still upsets me that it wasn't capitalized on, and that's Naomi returning to the 2020 Royal Rumble and going viral in the entertainment world, in the wrestling world, the crowd crazy. This is an I'm her moment, between her hair, between the reaction, between how good she looks, and just the whole moment is. I would say this is one of the best Royal Rumble moments in history. Were you guys watching live? What were your thoughts in the moment?
It was the pick me up that I needed, even though nothing could really pick me up from that day. We all know what happened the day of the 2020 Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah.
But to see her come out there, one, it was, it was enjoyable that she came back and made her return. It's unfortunate that it also happened in 2020 because it's like everything just went into shambles.
What a year.
Because it just make you wonder, like, I know you just brought up that it wasn't capitalized on, and it might sound like it might be making excuses for it being, 2020. It just would have been nice if they could have, really capitalized on it. But I just didn't. That moment was, it's so powerful because if it's you talk about an image just worth 1,000 or 1,000,000 words right
Look
here.
how gorgeous she looks.
Yeah, she's just showing.
Look how gorgeous. My God.
Yeah, who I am. I'm unapologetically who I am, and I'm a strong Black woman. And this is, you're gonna get everything of me. She had a great moment the following year, in my opinion, with her and Bianca, where they were fighting y'all remember they were fighting the Royal Rumble, and it was like they were both being eliminated, and they was like trying to knock each other off. It's like, wait a minute, no, let's team up and let's help each other. And that was just kind of like a sisterhood bond. But yeah, this moment I thought was incredible, and it would have been nice if we could have seen more of them, come together.
For me, it was more, it actually brought tears to my eyes a little bit because I'm someone who works in corporate America, and there are people now that are a little bit more accepting of like our natural hair. But then I also think back to the person that started that was like, every time I wore my hair out, it was, what's going on with your hair, or what's the big deal with your hair, and when are you getting your hair done? Like, it's more sentimental to us. Like, I always talk about like when Solange wrote "Don't Touch My Hair," like that shit was like, she was saying what everybody was thinking. Like, I wish, and I think of all like the Jacquelines and the Jazzes and Alicia Fox, who all talked about like what it's like to have to be at a standard in WWE, and she just goes out there rocking all that hair, being herself. And then it also brings to the forefront of like why Bianca is just her, because Bianca gets to go out there and have like have a all black band play her music. This year she had, these beautiful, young, talented divas of Compton go out and dance to her theme music. Like, it's all in perspective of like, this is the type of change I know I've been dying to see. And so to see her go out there with her natural hair, I was just like, yo, like, I like literally, like, there were tears in my eyes. I'm like, yo, this is the type of stuff that little girls, like my niece, could look at that and be like, okay, my hair is acceptable because there's people wearing my hair. And you look for that moment. It was just like, yo, this is somebody who probably had to sit in those same trends of like, you have to wear a wig or you have to wear a weave to fit in. And now you have people telling you know what? Let your free fly, be you, and do it right. And she was like, this is me being me. And she's always gone up against the grain. Like, even I know we talk about Total Divas, she wanted to put the I think, what was it, like the lights on her belt?
The neon lights, yeah.
That's the I'm her moment, because she got to make it her own. And it's important if you want somebody to be looked up to, those are the things that matter.
That's another drop ball, by the way, because that should have been sold.
Right. It wasn't. They were more pissed about it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'll add to this is the social media aspect, because you guys have been saying it perfect. Like, that was a moment when she's just like dancing in the aisle and like, yes, go kick some ass. But like the social media part, when you guys say it blew up, like Twitter and everything, that's an understatement. You had celebrities from different backgrounds that don't even watch wrestling go like, who the fuck is that? She is gorgeous. She's kicking ass. Keke Palmer was tweeting it. You had a lot of like A-list, B-list, C-list from like different backgrounds, just like, yo, who is this? What's she doing Royal Rumble? Let me go pull this up. Like, that thing had over 1 million views in like days.
Yep.
That's an understatement of she blew up Twitter. She basically broke the motherfucker.
No, that's facts. You muted.
Just like she broke P's mic.
Oh, sorry.
You was going.
Yeah.
No, like it's just unfortunate that it wasn't capitalized no more, because in wrestling, like the crowd is supposed to like kind of dictate things to a certain extent, and it was just like, how the fuck were y'all not listening to the crowd? Like,
Exactly.
that was when you, even if that wasn't the plan, that is when you change the fucking plan and you put her in the title picture. You do whatever you got to do. I don't think anyone has trended across all, the huge landscape of social media the way Naomi did that night. The crossover appeal.
Hashtag Naomi deserves better.
Come on, like, that was
days.
The biggest fumbles of life, But I think her return, it was I'm her moment, and we missed her. She was away for a while. There was not a lot of explanation. We heard she's going through some things, and
yeah, like personal stuff, family stuff, and then just injuries as well.
It was a lot. So to see her back and to not capitalize that shit is just like big fumble. Shout out to Trinity.
Whatever you go, Trinity, we got you. Yeah. Whatever you do,
we got you. So I want to go back in time now, because the women's evolution happened, and so there were a lot of I'm her moments, because there was a kind of a blank canvas when that started, and now there's a lot of room for those moments. But there were some I'm her moments back in the day. So I want to get into a controversial one. And that is, so these I'm her moments we got from our Twitter post, by the way. These are not necessarily moments that we would, necessarily say are I'm her moments. But Alundra Blayze / Medusa showing up on Nitro and throwing the WWF Women's Championship in the trash. Now, I can see why someone would say this is I'm her moment, regardless of how you feel about what was done. So I'm gonna save it for, I'm gonna go last. But I would love to hear your thoughts on that moment. Especially being fans of wrestling a little bit more, learning a little bit more about the industry. Was this an I'm her moment? How do we look back on her actions?
So I'm gonna say yeah, and because all eyes was on her. You look at what she represented. Well, one, she was the WWE Women's Division at that time. As you and Krista B so graciously told her that my first wrestling crush. That's all it was. It was either her trading the title back and forth with Bull Nakano, or her trading the title back and forth with Bertha Faye. They was going a direction with her and Aja Kong. However, Aja, Alundra left. And I remember the first time I saw her, she was Medusa, like early on before she went to WWE. But you look at this moment, she has all eyes on her, and to me, it's empty promises that came afterwards. So I can see what people say it wasn't an I am her moment, but to my understanding, she was supposed to be getting that competition over there. WCW had that working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, so they had the Japanese women that they could have brought in, but unfortunately, we didn't get that, and she was just thrown in the stable with the Macho Man later. Like, come on now, she deserved better. But overall, this is an I'm her moment as far as I'm concerned.
So you're saying that it had the potential of being an I'm her moment, but they didn't capitalize enough on it.
They didn't capitalize afterwards, but to me, in that moment, right there, because I mean, it's on the DVDs. Anytime you bring up controversy, is that let's be real. If we could be 100% honest, people could say what they want. It's the reason that Bret Hart couldn't the Montreal screw job happened. They could say they wasn't thinking about it. Yes, they was. If she don't do that,
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000. I agree.
So the type she had that much impact, yeah, that's the I'm her moment.
I mean, controversy sells sometimes, and if anything, it was divisive. You were either on one side of that fence, you were on the other side of the fence, but you had an opinion and you were talking about it. And I think that was one of the main things that they wanted was get you talking. It made you care, and that's one of the things in wrestling where it's like you gotta have emotion behind it, and you gotta make the people care about this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see this live. This was like, eventually when I was older, I saw this and then eventually came back to this. It's be like, what is this moment that everyone keeps pulling up and then watching it from a fresher lens? It's just like, oh.
If you ever listen to, like, and I've listened to a couple of older fans talk about it because they've seen it, it did what it was supposed to do for WCW in the wars. Like, it ignited the fact of like, why is she on a different TV show with a different company's belt and thrown in the garbage? Now I want to see what this company has to offer and why she's there. It did what it was supposed to do for the brand. The only disagreement I have for it is it kind of put a tainted, I want to say like a spoiled, tainted moment in her career. Like, as much as you are going to always talk about it, it's like, what did Medusa really gain from it? Besides Hall of Fame, not knocking it, not knocking her accomplishment at all. But what does she really have to gain from that? She's idolized, perfectly idolized. But what does she really gain from doing that at that moment? Yeah, because if you remember what happened to Medusa after, they'll tell you she wasn't really there after.
She was with the Macho Man, her, Gorgeous George, and I forgot the other lady's name.
But it wasn't about her anymore.
Exactly.
It should have been, when it's like we talking about her moments, right? It has to be moments where it's about her. It wasn't, in my opinion.
And it also goes back to like what it meant, like, because it was like, okay, like if nothing happened after it, it's just like, okay, well, like she did that for what? And it actually held her back from the Hall of Fame. Like she got blackballed after that from WWE.
Right.
So like the aftermath, I think, is kind of what, like, you have to have balls to do what she did. And that's why, and I give it up for Eric Bischoff, who vouches for her and says like, oh, that was my idea. Like I said, like, come on and
bring it over.
This kind of vibe, you know what I mean?
Because he was trying to bring spark to his new company.
Controversy creates cash, like,
right?
She
ooh, I like that.
That's Eric Bischoff's line.
Yeah, you ain't heard that one?
No,
yeah,
that's a gem right there.
Yeah, I think he had a couple. Yeah.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
I wasn't about to plug his merch on the show.
Nope.
I like that shirt you have on, Brian.
Oh, thank you.
We're plugging.
Look at that.
Like, let's just do the plug.
Yeah, it says Superior Wrestling Intellect right there.
Is that the same place where I can get this shirt over here?
This on WrestlingRealm.com.
That's on their that's on their website.
Like, that's the old school Raw logo, right?
Yeah. Shout out to the real Dwayne Allen for the design.
I love that design.
Salute.
Yeah, I got some really, really cool designs. Yeah,
I got one of them rock tonight on the Wrestling Realm at 10:30.
We're plugging the merch now. You'll have time to plug your live stream at 10:30, maybe 11 on the Wrestling Realm YouTube channel and also Twitch channel.
Thank you.
Pew 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 pew.
Bang.
Pew pew pew.
Holster them.
Heel. I ain't never seen a babyface wear the heel shirt.
I am not a baby face.
No, you are not. You came in running down the aisle with a steel chair, jumped in the ring, and then ran out.
Wait, so I'm not convinced. I'm not a convincing heel. That's
No, you're a baby face, and people gonna cheer for you. That's Queen PR. That's Queen PR.
No, you know what
I
you are.
appreciate the JR
He's
commentary.
a likable heel. She's a Paul Heyman. Like, we know Paul Heyman can be a dick, but we like Paul Heyman. Like,
That's
so
Krista.
no,
That's
just
Krista.
we're gonna have to agree to disagree because I think that's P.
Look, I still remember vividly.
Yeah.
What I think y'all did that on a Thirsty Thursday. It might have just been a traditional episode, but
Did
I
I just-
remember Twitter blowing up and those wrestling girls discussion group blowing up, and I'm like, no, face heel. This is. How
I know I'm
are
a
you?
heel. Shit, I know I'm a
What are
heel.
you? Are you a face or a heel?
I didn't call you the Paul Heyman. I just said you a heel, Krista. I ain't
Yeah,
call you
but
Paul.
you
That's
are.
what
I'm
I
not a
think
Paul Heyman.
somebody-
Thank you. She's
somebody
not.
put it in the comments.
She's
I
not a
think.
Paul
Somebody-
Heyman.
There's
She's
other
she's a
heels
Bobby
besides
Heenan.
Paul Heyman.
But he's a likable heel. Like, no matter what Paul Heyman does, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I can't wait. Everybody's gonna be like, my name is Paul Heyman. Like, people like him. He can't escape that. People have liked him since he was on commentary. There's nothing assholeish enough that Paul Heyman could do for you to dislike him.
Did y'all hear that fake ECW chant that they tried to start on Monday?
Mm,
Like,
yeah,
you heard, like,
child.
it's
Let
like,
it die,
Like, first of
y'all.
all, y'all in Little Rock. We all know ECW did not go no Little Rock, Arkansas.
They
Cut it out.
If it did,
If they did, that'd be awesome. Be like, yo, they're about to jump off a barn. Let's go.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Anyway, I don't want to.
The three stages of barnyard matches.
Like, good for y'all. I love y'all. I'm a Paul Heyman girl for sure. Like 1,000%. Baby
We
face.
stand Paul Heyman on this side.
I want to go even further back, guys. So we talked about Medusa. I think Dre was right. Unfortunately, that is kind of what we think about with her. And I know she just released her autobiography, so definitely go check that out. And we also have a spotlight episode with an interview with her from the Women's Wrestling. Go check that. Our YouTube channel is popping right now. Like, you get
Stay
fan club
tuned.
replays, you get Bianca Belair interviews. Like, yeah, there's
Just pull up
like
at work and
much
just
content.
watch all the content. So much different types of content. Just pull up.
So many different
And then you add the
playlists.
Patreon stuff to the YouTube stuff. Oof.
On,
Gives me
you
chills.
know, go to thosewrestlinggirls.com. Like, there is a lot happening in our world. So for the next I'm Her moment, I want to get into it. We're going to even go further back. And it is the wonderful Miss Elizabeth returning to aid her man, Macho Man, and she beat the bricks off of Sensational Sherry. So I know we're like, I don't know. I didn't watch it. Obviously, didn't watch it live, but it is a moment
Oh, I definitely did. You're now speaking 6-year-old
about it.
Justin's language when we're in the Boston Seacore housing projects in the North Bronx. Me and a couple of kids from the school, and we're watching WrestleMania 7 live. This is Macho King and Queen Sherry, where they're coming out on the throne to the ring in a retirement match. Macho King Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior. Loser retires, quote unquote. And this is actually the best match on the card. They put on a barn burner, but the underlying story besides the retirement match, they keep cutting to the crowd. Why do they keep coming to the crowd? Because all of a sudden, wait, is that who I think it is? Yeah, is that Miss Elizabeth in the crowd? And she's sitting next to the barricade where she's got a clear view. Like, yeah, that's Miss Elizabeth. And she's watching this match from the crowd as you're seeing Macho King and Warrior go at it, but then also Sherry involving herself time and time and time again in this match to be like, you ain't about to have my ass retire. Macho King gonna win this. I'm gonna do everything possible because ain't no DQs. We need a clean victory. And Sherry's just getting involved, and then they just keep cutting to Elizabeth. And then finally, Warrior pulls it out. Hits that man with so many shoulder tackles that Macho King was just like, enough, please. 1, 2, 3, Warrior wins. Sherry is fuming. Gets in the ring and starts putting hands, feet, paws, everything on Macho King. Like, you motherfucker, you lost this, so I'm out of a job too, and starts beating him to where now You have Sherry beating Macho King, and you have they're cutting to Elizabeth. Now the camera's dead ass on Elizabeth, cutting back and forth, cutting back and forth. What's Elizabeth gonna do? She hops the barricade, sprints as best as she could to the ring, gets in there, puts hands on Sherry, throws her ass out of the ring, tries to comfort Macho King, but Macho King's just like, what the hell? Like, he doesn't know what's going on. He thinks, Elizabeth is Sherry and Elizabeth was beating him. And Macho King's trying to put it together while Sherry's just irate. And it just leads to this fever pitch, like, hug, embrace, y'all love each other. And then when they finally hug and that place goes nuclear, that place goes insane. Macho King throws Elizabeth on the shoulder. And people are legit crying. Like 6-year-old me's just like, oh, this is a cute moment. Look at these white people.
Look at these white people, child. I can't.
I'm into projects with like, yo, it's me and a bunch of minorities. Like, yeah, it's like, look at these white people. It's like, you're 6, you don't know better. But it's just like, you could tell it was a sweet moment. It's just, you can't really put together like, oh, this is why this is happening, and trying to really piece it together because you're young.
Right.
But it was like, you could tell like that was a moment. And that's one that's like always stuck with me. That's like literally the highlight of WrestleMania 7, which is an underrated WrestleMania. But that is, go pull that up. Macho King versus Ultimate Warrior. It's like in the middle of that card. You won't be disappointed.
Fact.
What'd you think, Brian? Do you remember that?
I mean, Justin said it all. But yeah, I don't remember watching it as a child. The main thing that stuck out to me about that WrestleMania was like the red, white, and blue logo. As a child watching it, but going back, it's in my one of my favorite matches. I like to go back and watch, but definitely that moment, and to see Miss Elizabeth go out there and do what she did, and this is essentially the end of Macho King right here. Because when he came back, he wasn't Macho King. He was back to being Macho Man Randy Savage. But it just goes to show you, I mean, you don't have Macho Man without Miss Elizabeth. And to see them come back full circle, you know what I mean? It's like Macho Man finally got the kiss. He finally got the lady. So, after the whole Mega Powers explode thing, and he went on his heel run, this was important. So yeah, what a moment.
What a moment. I just asked on Twitter, was this one of the first I'm her moments in WWF, WWE women dress, women in the moment, and I it's absolutely up there.
I got a controversial one.
Go ahead.
Twitter gonna kill me because I don't remember the exact date, but SummerSlam, when Miss Elizabeth distracted the Mega Powers opponents, because this was something that you never seen before, when she took off her skirt and she just had it was just a bikini bottom, but like that moment right there, and this is, you don't see nothing like this in wrestling in the 90s, the early 90s, I should say. So that's or maybe that was 88, 89, but yeah, that was another, probably one of the first I'm her moments, because right there, center of attention, and this helped that story go to the next level where it needed to go to. But this was important before, like, this is the height of the friendship before it would take its downturn, which was ultimately centered around her. But that was right there where she showed, like, look, I'm the reason, like, I'm the glue that holds the Mega Powers together, which was the most powerful force in wrestling at the time.
Yeah.
I love Miss Elizabeth, adore her. She was adorable. She did what she had to do. I think Sensational Sherry is more of her moment than her, because I think that's gonna be a whole different freaking fan club.
She did
figures. Right, but look at all the people that Sensational Sherry was involved with. You're gonna tell me that how many of them was she involved with that she actually made impact? I think of her and Shawn Michaels and their old angle at SummerSlam. I think of so many moments with her, not just with Macho Man Randy Savage. She really did do a lot managerial wise as a female, she did a lot for the business.
Yeah.
She was the exception. She can work with anybody, and that's exactly what she did.
Unpopular opinion: the Shawn Michaels theme that Sensational Sherry sings is 100 times better than the version that we all hear, which is Shawn singing.
What?
I agree.
No,
Yes.
I'm sorry,
The
Brian, but
Sherry
without
version
her,
is much better.
it's much better.
Much better?
Yes.
Much better.
Shawn Michaels?
I said
Sherry's
what I said.
version over Shawn Michaels?
I said Justin said what he
Much
said, and I
better.
mean what he
I
said.
said-
What he
Take
said.
it to the club. See what the club has to say.
All right, guys.
That's another
let us know
unpopular
what
opinion
version
episode.
of Sexy Boy is better, the Sherry version or the Shawn Michaels version? Let us know.
I said it with my chest. I took the shirt off. I'm
I
standing
said
by
what
it.
I
Sherry's
said.
version is
I
100
said what
times
I
better
said.
than Shawn's version. It
If you
hits
don't
so
like
much
it,
different.
you don't like it.
Especially when it's like, it makes no sense when Shawn's singing and then you have the woman's vocal in the background and it's like, that's Sherry. Just let Sherry rock with the damn original song. It's much better. I play the Sherry version all the time.
Sherry did it all. She did it all. She got in the ring. She was a manager. She did it all. She did it all. She
Exactly.
placed in the Hall of Fame
Exactly.
without even touching the ropes. She did what she had to do in that
Hey,
business.
tell who you need to tell. Text your friends, text your enemies. Sherry's version, much better, and the superior version than Shawn's version.
Text your friends, text your enemies.
That's a lot, though. Like, it can better, okay, but superior,
There are some-
much better. I don't know.
But there are
I gotta
some
listen
things
to
that
both
are
of them.
better with certain people, like theme music and like fractions. You know what? Like for me, with DX, I happen to like the three people that were in DX before DX became a bigger faction. Chyna, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. That's my favorite version of DX. Personally. Personally. Love X-Pac, love Road Dogg, love Billy Gunn. But I like the original three. I like the OGs of the gang. That's just me.
All right, so the chat is a little divisive. We see Shawn's version
I
is
see
goated.
that.
All right, Shawn's version is iconic. All right, I'll give you Sherry's
Well,
version is
speaking of
better. See,
DX.
Dylan, we hear Dylan.
Speaking of DX,
Dylan is here. Sean is here. Yeah. Okay. If y'all think so.
one of their members had a I'm her moment.
Yes. And I think she is her.
I thought 1,000 freaking percent.
1,000%.
1,000.
Wait, let's see if everyone in the club can guess who we're talking about. So we're about to mention somebody who is her, who has a couple moments that we're gonna talk about in the club. Like, who do you guys think that we're talking about? Because there's only one. She is the such and such. So Vaughn, you are correct. We are talking about the ninth wonder of the world, Chyna.
Yes.
So she was her, but this moment in particular, I think, was so iconic. Like, I wish I appreciated crowd pops at the time, because I do remember watching this live as a kid. But when she entered that Royal Rumble, what year was that?
1999.
1999 Royal Rumble. Chyna makes history as the first woman to enter the men's Royal Rumble, and she eliminated people. What did y'all think in this moment? Y'all remember?
Man.
What a fucking moment, because it's like it makes 1,000% sense, and it's also like, yo, she's about to, and think of like all the people on that male roster in 99. She's like, yo, she's about to go tangle and rumble with them. Oh shit, because we all know Chyna can hold her own. So it was like visually just like, oh shit, because it's not just like you're gonna have a woman in the men's Royal Rumble. It's like, yo, she could fuck some people up legitimately. Like, I am here for this. Let me go. It's like that gift where you go get the seat, sit down, like, yo, let's go. I ready.
So this is the early days of the Royal Rumble, right? It's weird to say that in 99, but this is the first batch. At that time, we're still having not so many super heavyweights in the Royal Rumble. And whenever the super heavyweights was in, they were looked as the odds-on favorites, because it was always this big deal. Who's going to eliminate Yokozuna? Who's going to eliminate Vader? You know, when she eliminated Mark Henry by herself, that was unheard of at the time, because outside of the WWE script of where Shawn Michaels magically eliminated Vader and Yokozuna at the same
Not
time in
magically.
'96, just made no sense at
That
all.
was crazy.
Like he
Yeah.
literally, like no, but
Back when you can tell that the Royal Rumble wins were scheduled AF, that was one of them where I look at it and I'm like, yo, that was, y'all scheduled that. Like, y'all didn't even try and make it inconspicuous. Like, and then they try to blame it on shock factor. Who the
Yeah.
hell? Who the hell?
because up until that point, it was like
I
you
go
couldn't,
follow.
you just couldn't see it. So like when she eliminated Mark Henry, it was a big deal. But and even though we knew she was going to be in it because she had won the Battle Royal, I think it was Vince McMahon she eliminated on Raw to earn the 30th spot or something like that, right? What was so cool, this is one of Michael Cole's earlier signature calls. You know, I still vividly remember him going, "It's Chyna, it's Chyna," you know. So that right there, you know, this is a moment, and it was definitely, you know, that's my favorite Royal Rumble outside of this past one. That's like my favorite Royal Rumble as far as from the show from start to finish.
Let's also get into shout out to Rakarsha because she did put this on Twitter. Her winning the Intercontinental title.
Oh, yes.
Making that history.
Yes.
Especially the way she had to go through it with Jeff Jarrett. You
Yeah.
know, what was that? The
storyline, the housekeeping match, the misogyny, like all of the layers of that. I think that's probably a bigger I'm her moment almost in the Royal Rumble just because of the storyline and like what it represented and the fact that she's probably going to be the only woman to ever win the Intercontinental Championship.
You know what? Speaking, I just want to say something about Jeff Jarrett, right? You know how we talk about wrestling families and stuff, and to see him play such a misogynistic role, it's hard to believe. This is where, you know, wrestling becomes like acting because he's a third generation star because of his grandmother.
Yeah,
You know, a third generation promoter, I should say, because of his grandmother. So I'm thinking, like, man, if she was living at the time, I could imagine her telling him, like, yeah, you say all this stuff, and I'm going to hate you, and I'm going to root against you, but you got to do it because it's best for business. Because wrestling families are built different.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think that just makes him just like really good. Like the fact that like people legit like it's just now because also I'm a Jeff Jarrett, Mark, if you haven't realized, because he never did shoot interviews like until now, like people only knew him as like that guy that they hated in their childhood because like he talked about it all the time how people are like, yo, people fucking hate me, bro. Like,
yeah, like and a lot of people, I never understood like the underlying of why people hate him. Then I watch a lot of old footage and I'm like, okay, I can kind of see why, but then again, I like you. Like, so I'm always gonna see like a lot, and you're right, a lot of people for some underlying reason don't like him. Like to the point where people were pissed about him going to AEW. And I'm like, why? This is great for business. Like you want him in AEW. But you know, people stuck in their old ways, child.
Yeah.
People in their feelings.
This moment, it was great and covered in flour. Also, I don't know who I talked to about this match, but it's just funny how like he got disqualified for using something like it just like the finish is funny as hell. He's not problematic. See, it's funny. His on-screen character in the 90s was problematic as fuck.
Right.
But he's actually one of the few wrestlers from that era that's not problematic. So shout out to Jeff Jarrett and his grandmother who did not want him to get into wrestling. So nice. Oh my god, so nice. How do you guys feel about this? Dylan asked about Jay White.
No. Yep, just exactly what Dylan said. Just another one of the guys in the back.
But that's every single
damn, Brian.
You know, everybody keep talking about this Switchblade and Jay White, and I watched them in New Japan, and I was like, okay, I like this guy. You know, he's big deal, can wrestle. But then AEW break, they just got too many wrestlers, and too many wrestlers, but not enough on the roster. If that make any sense, like. 100%. Yeah, all this the Dark Revelation and Dark Revolution, Evolution, and now they about to have Saturday Collision because your roster can't get along because people don't want to get along with CM Punk, so you gonna split the roster. That's just having too much money.
Is
That is
stupid.
so dumb, and it's gonna cost
stupid.
so many dudes.
Because
Like
guess
the inmates are running the asylum, and that's the problem.
right. That's exactly what it is. I'm like, listen, y'all are all a bunch, not for nothing. Chris Jericho, you too grown to be acting like that. Punk, you too grown to be acting like that. The Elite, y'all have money. Y'all should be acting better than that.
Mhm.
Why are we making separate shows because a couple of grown ass 40-year-olds plus can't get along? Why are we doing that? And then it becomes that thing that we've always been worried about. Where does it put the younger talent? Are you going to put all the people that you always have sitting in the back on these shows? Is Jade Cargill going to be able to defend her title on that show? What are you doing? Like, what are we doing here, bro? Spending more money on a new set?
That they are not going to make the same mistakes that Eric Bischoff made. Like,
there's 5 freaking shows a week.
I
How?
think about Thunder. I think about how like the wrestlers kind of ran him, and like you're literally dictating wrestling programming based on like clicks and all that bullshit. Like,
right.
It's off-putting in my opinion, and it's one of those things where, and don't get me wrong, pettiness in wrestling has always been the case, if not worse. But social media and all of that just makes all of it so much worse, because then you have the speculation, you have AEW's horrible ass fans. So like that shit is gonna be a fucking messy ass shit show.
Horrible ass fans.
Yeah, like
wait.
not for nothing.
No shade.
No shade, right? But not for nothing. I'm not on a Saturday. P knows I'm either at brunch or shaking my ass. Who the hell's gonna sit home and watch AEW?
That is a great 2 options to have. Brunch, ass shaking.
Yeah, like, and if it's not a PLE, I'm sorry, I'm not sitting my ass home. You have to have something. What do you have lined up? You still can't get your creative correctly. You're bringing in all these people. You still don't have a foundation. What makes you think it makes sense to bring in another show because 2 people can't get along? Like, I want to know, like, I always say this, and I'm not joking. I want to think who walked in on Tony Khan doing something he wasn't supposed to do that is making him make all these decisions. Because that's what it's into.
Probably
he had walked into the room where it happened and something happened they wasn't supposed to see, and now he's bribed. I don't get it. What kind of club was he running that nobody was supposed to see that now we got all these shows? What?
And then just to add to all this, like the reason why his Jay White and AEW doesn't feel like a big deal, because it hasn't been that long. When you go back, what was the pay-per-view? Revolution, when Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole came over? It hasn't been that long. Where the hell has Miro been? You just got House of Black back. You still got people that's been signed to you that's like, wait, I don't even remember they were on this route. You got Soraya.
I was happy to see Andrade at the Hall of Fame when I should have been happy to see
where
his
the hell
ass
is Andrade
on TV.
From? We know where Andrade's been, but like, where the hell is Andrade? Like, dude, you still got like a dozen people that's like, either we haven't seen in a long time or just like, I even forgot they're on your roster. So Jay kind of like goes into that fold of like, you keep bringing people in. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with them though?
And I always said, though, I think that more people go to AEW because there's less of a restriction for them to do other work outside the business. But as far as like actually being on the show, I think some of them gradually, mind my language, I don't think some of them give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, it's the talent that's making everything go. Like Stokely, I think Stokely's going because he has more creative control there than he did in WWE. I think it's the same thing for Matt. I think it's the same thing going to be for Jeff. I think it's the same thing with Malachi Black when he's extended to go to HOG. I think that's the same thing for him. He wants more options to do things outside that they can't do in WWE, and that's what they look at. And I think with Jay White, he can still jump up and go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling when he feels like it, and still have AEW in his back pocket. But like, it's not making no sense. It's not.
And then what's interesting is the content creation part, because you saw how recently in the news, like WWE came to a decision and came to an agreement with Twitch so they can have the talent back on Twitch. That was a deciding factor on it. Some people jumping ship from WWE to AEW because it's like, yo, I like streaming on Twitch, whether I make money or whether it's just my mental health. I like doing this shit. WWE at that time, that was a hard no during the pandemic where Vince got wind was like, I'm cutting all this shit off. AEW was like, come through, do all the content creating all you want.
Because of it.
So now you see that WWE's now like, yo, talent can go back and start streaming on Twitch again.
Yep.
Do people jump back ship and go back to WWE where it's like that was the only thing that was like a hard no? Now you guys change your mind on that?
No, they gotta bring some indie shit back, like bring back Progress or all these shows where some of these talents were able to do indie shows, and now they're at least with NXT now they're bringing back house shows, which is great. Unless they do that, I don't see anybody just up and jumping ship yet.
Yeah. I agree. We'll definitely do a AEW centric fan club at some point just to get some of the, like more of these across, especially because we watch Dynamite as a family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that'll be a good show, right?
I promise you, we don't hate AEW. We don't intentionally dunk on them every chance we get. It's just
it don't make no goddamn sense what's fucking going on in that fucking show sometimes. I'm sorry.
That's the problem.
We spoiled over here. We need stuff to make sense. You see how pissed we were about the WrestleMania after Raw when stuff don't make sense. We're spoiled. Straight up. I'm spoiled. Like if it don't make sense to me, I'm tuning out. If it don't make sense to me, I tune out.
We eat filet mignon. We don't eat McDonald's.
Yeah, like I'm not going back to Hamburger Helper after eating a whole lobster. I'm sorry.
Hey man, I ain't eating carbs, and Hamburger Helper sound good right now.
I ain't listen. If I'm not going back down, I'm sorry.
Only thing I don't eat no more is oodles and noodles. Ugh.
Oh God, so much sodium.
It is a lot of sodium.
Nah, once you've had Ani ramen or you've been to Koreatown in New York and had their ramen, you ain't going back to regular package ramen. Like, sorry.
But New York is a cheat code because New York has so much good food and so many diverse different foods. It's just like it's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, New York is definitely the best city on the planet. But is there any I'm her moments that we have not covered that you would like to do a last rally on?
Natalya.
Oh, okay. Proceed. Proceed.
Let's put it in full perspective. She is, before people pop about bringing Lita and Trish and Beth back, but she's the last one standing. Pay attention to the roster. She's the last one standing. She's been through everything. Like, I understand. I like to say that she complains. I blame Total Divas for that. The editing was great. Thank you, E. Thank you, Bella. They did what they're supposed to do. But it would have been boring without her and her cat and her issues with Tyson and her dad being out of pocket. Like, it would have been boring. She really held down the show. She's held down the division. And when you hear people talk about her, they talk her up. I've never heard anybody talk her down. Like, despite how the show looks, the Bellas have talked her up. You know, Sasha has talked her up. Charlotte has talked her up. Bayley has everybody has talked her up, because it's not enough that you're a part of the Heart Foundation. You're the only female slash in the Heart Dungeon. You really took that leadership role and you applied what Stu Hart was doing in that basement and brought over to WWE, and you made it a part of your mission. And a lot of people, I feel like, don't appreciate that because she's not pushed in front of us the way she is. But like, every time I see Natty with a belt, I get excited as hell, which is why I said last week on the fan club, when I was happy for her and Tamina, I genuinely was happy for her and Tamina, because I'm like, finally, like, the fuck? When she won the SmackDown Championship, I was like, thank God. Like, what the hell? Like, where you been when it was like the Divas of Destruction? I love that. I love that it was her and Beth Phoenix. So definitely I'm her. Natty is I'm her 1000% personified. Her and her cute ass cats, all of them. Her.
You know what Natty is? If you know, like, a basketball team, Natty is that 20-year veteran that's on the team that's like towards the end of the bench that gets like that. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, she's a veteran in the game on the team that, like, she gets like sparing minutes here and there, and then like casual fans like, why is she still on the team? Why are they still employed? And then you can't measure her worth on the court, because what she does
Right.
behind the scenes off the court is invaluable. That entire company, that organization, the coach, assistant coaches all know, like, you keep her on the roster for the shit you don't see on TV. And then occasionally you'll just see like a tenth of what her value is on screen. But the 90% is what she does outside the screen.
Right.
It's
I
the
like
stuff
what
that you
Chris
see on
said.
social media where she throws up clips of her and TJ creating Dungeon 2.0, and you see talent from all of the world in that fucking ring, working, training, learning.
I'm telling you, like you need somebody in the back to push people forward. And we talk about AEW. I feel like when we saw people like Madison Rae, and we were hoping for that, but it's like you want more of that. You want more of that. You need more of that. The guys get it. Like the guys get it whenever they get. I want to say who's been there the longest time, who's still kicking the ring. People in AEW, people are excited. Say it again.
R-Truth.
Yeah, like R-Truth, Titus. People are excited as hell to see Matt Hardy, because Matt Hardy is not only there just to like be Matt Hardy and take titles. He's boosted a lot of young talents at AEW to the point where he's put them on their platform. He's been on their platform, showing them how to do promos. Like he does a lot, veteran wise, and you need that. And despite what people say also about Punk, he in interviews, I have not heard Ricky Stark, Hobbs, Jade, they all have something to say about him for some reason. Daniel Bryan with Jade, they all boost up and teach people. That's what veterans are supposed to do. Not have this toxic energy of, oh, I'm here and I'm here to gain back my crown. No, it's about who you giving the crown to next. And that's what Natty's been doing.
I think she does it very well. A quick plug, we have an interview with her on YouTube, but she's one of those people that you're not gonna appreciate until she's not around, because she's so dependable, because she's fundamental, because she gives back so much to the business. And I'm so glad you brought her up, Seindole, because I think Natalya is so underrated, underappreciated. And like I said, she's not going to be appreciated enough until she is not around anymore.
Or they do a biography on her, and you get to hear everyone that she's worked with, like, talk about her and discuss her.
I'm crossing my fingers for that. I hope they do. Like the AE series, I hope they give her one, because it needs to be. And if you want to see how much Natty did, you go into, they still have it on Peacock. You go to the FCW documentary, and they'll talk about how they were in the back of that warehouse, and the first thing the Bellas said was, when they came in, the first person to pick them up and teach them how to properly grapple, how to properly throw, when they knew nothing, they were models hired, was Natalya.
Because she loves the business.
Right.
The first time I ever watched NXT was because of Natalya. She went down to NXT to go face Charlotte for that title. You have Ric Flair in Charlotte's corner. You have Bret Hart in Natty's corner. They put on a banger of a match. Charlotte may have retained, but Natty was just as big as the winner. And I was like, why the fuck can't they wrestle like this on the main roster? That was fucking awesome.
I got one more. I'm gonna keep it quick. That we talk about Natalya. Let's talk about her best friend, and that's Beth Phoenix.
Oh, Beth Phoenix is her.
Yes.
That moment when she eliminated the Great Khali. Again, like I said before, eliminating super heavyweights was a big deal. But for her to get creative and kiss them and drag them over, we could go on and on. Beth Phoenix deserves like just a whole episode, because I think a lot of times she may be forgotten about. But yeah, this right here at the Royal Rumble, that was I'm her moment.
Oh, 1,000%. Like Beth Phoenix is definitely her. She's definitely one of one. I'm sure there's more Beth Phoenix moments we could think of, but I'm glad you brought her up. I'm glad that we were able to get into like the I'm her moments, because like stuff like that is like right like up those wrestling girls' alley, where it's like, okay, I'm him is trending. All these amazing men are getting fucking praise and shit like that, where it's like, okay, well, I'm her. What were the I'm her moments? And we were able to talk about it. Shout out to all of our Twitter followers who allowed that to like blow up the way that it did. and getting into these. There's so many more. We can even do like a part 2 of this down the line because there are so many more moments that we can talk about.
I'm definitely down for part 2 because mine's is gonna take a while to explain.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm gonna go with mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You got to put that on Patreon.
I mean,
I know. I feel like we should. I feel like that'd be a
how
good
the fuck do we
Patreon.
not explain this? And I could Patreon.
Yeah,
I'll go into detail.
That sounds really, 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 really good. Yep, it's all about acknowledging the women. We love all the women. I'm also really loving the evolution of fan club. I really like being able to talk about very specific things, but that also allow us. We went into 80s wrestling, we went into indie wrestling, we went into like a little bit of everything, which is really, really fun. I always wanted a platform to gush about Total Divas and just like reality TV in general. So I do think next week will be a Total Divas centric episode. I'm gonna find some clips of some episodes and I'm gonna post them on our social. So that
There's so many. There's so many.
Of what Total Divas is, and I do want
the bus ride from hell.
Yes,
the bus ride from hell. Natty getting piss slapped. Freaking child.
There's a lot of moments. So definitely stop by. And even if you are not a Brie mode, if you're one of those people, originator. Mode, yes. If you're one of those people that feel like reality TV has no place in wrestling, if you feel like it ruined it or anything like that, come to the club. We want to talk about these opinions. We want to, because it really is a matter of opinion. I have very strong opinions about Total Divas. So come by fan club next Wednesday.
Dylan pointed out perfectly. Roxanne Perez was on Total Divas.
She and a lot of the new crop
as a kid, Natty was talking to her.
And a lot of the new crop of girls were actually inspired to be WWE superstars because they saw that women could be glamorous and, kind of cross that bridge to be on TV, on E. I'm not going to get on my soapbox, but the same producers as the Kardashians produced that show, which is a really big deal. But we'll get into that next week. Those that are new to fan club, it is our weekly wrestling fan club. I am joined with my crew here that you see on this beautiful panel, and we talk about wrestling, and it's really, really fun. And I can't wait for next week, and I can't wait for this to grow. If you enjoy coming to the club, shout out to Dylan, shout out to Rakasha, Vaughn, Dre, Mike, everyone that joins us every single week in the club. You guys are honorary members. Tweet about it. Use the hashtag TWG Fan Club and invite everyone to come through. Brian, why is your face looking like that?
So Britt Baker just smacked Chris Jericho after he attacked Adam Cole.
Yes.
And then
finally,
look at her doing the Lord's work.
But now those girls, the Outcasts, are now beating her up, and they're handcuffing Adam Cole to the JAS as handcuffing Cole to the ropes while they attack Britt Baker, while the ladies attack Britt Baker.
Blood and guts. I don't care what anyone says. Blood and guts. I hope this is what I think it is.
You got to get beat up in your hometown if you're the baby face.
Right.
I know that's how Vince used to do stuff, but apparently they're doing it over here in AEW too.
You just seem unimpressed with the entire fucking thing. You just seem unimpressed.
I would have enjoyed a Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole match 10 years ago. Now, like Jericho's telling him, like, I'm your hero, or you don't meet your heroes and stuff. I don't know about that. Oh my gosh. Now they got a kendo stick and they're gonna try to give it to Saraya.
They're about to beat that ass.
They're gonna beat
you in Pittsburgh. Your sports team's taking L's. Your AEW women's time gotta take an L. Oh yeah. I'm sending all that shade. As a Rangers fan, I'm sending all that shade. I want the smoke.
Adam Cole is crying. Let her go.
Come by hashtag TWG Fan Club for the smoke every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Where can everybody find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube and Twitch at It's Justin Rich. We will be getting active with the YouTube and Twitch channels to be continued. You can find me here Wednesday nights on Twitch for those Wrestling Girls Fan Club with these beautiful, illustrious co-hosts of mine for TWG Fan Club. You can find me on Twitter Spaces Tuesday nights for Tom and Burkle Talk with Mimi and Corey around 6:35, where we talk all things wrestling. You can catch me also from time to time on True Heel Heat Sport and True Heel Heat Wrestling. Both of those channels are located on YouTube, where we can talk about sports, wrestling, all that fun stuff. We here, we outside, we active. The weather is beautiful. Go touch grass. Have a great day.
Love it.
You can find me at Brian H. Waters on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the videos I post on there. But also check out Wednesday Worldwide with myself, Ben Cruz, and Cal. This week we did a non-WWE draft. I'll give you one of my picks. I drafted Draymond Green to my roster. So make sure y'all check that out. We also talked about AEW and WWE. Oh, Cody Rhodes.
Facts.
Where Dustin Rhodes said that Cody Rhodes was being made to pay for starting AEW, but he liked it. So we talked about that. And tonight on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast with myself, the real Dwayne Allen, and the guy, Brandon Guy, we are going to discuss some of these controversial moments, including Trish Stratus, what she said the other night, CM Punk, and causing them to start a new company, and whether or not they're controversial, or they just, just something a part of wrestling. So we're going to really jump into what is really controversy and what's not. And also check out Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I also added a new addition to it soon, which will be titled
Soon to be.
Which will be titled Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, with new projects where people from previous episodes will come on and share their stories. So I'm recording that one tomorrow, the first one. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do one version on me yet to kick it off, but y'all check that out.
Yeah.
And as always, it is your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. You can catch me on Instagram at reload.relive. You can catch me on Twitter, talking my ish at Reload Via Film. You can also now officially catch me on YouTube at reload.relive as well, where I do weekly vlogs the weekend, and I also do shorts. So feel free to tap in and check that out. And you can also catch The Well Minority on that exact same YouTube channel, coming soon with podcast episodes. First episode will be dropping finally after my birthday. Shout outs to me and all the other tourists out there. There are so many tourists showing y'all so much love. And listen, just be in a vibe, live life, because you can't say you didn't live life.
Right.
I can't wait till your show come out.
I am so looking forward to that.
We're gonna do a huge social media push. So if y'all following us, y'all gonna be able to find. Ain't gonna be like, I couldn't find her on Twitter. No, you gonna see it on.
You can actually find the minorities on Instagram, on Twitter. I can tell some of y'all not in my bios. I could tell if you can say you can't find the Well Minority on Twitter. Some of y'all not in my bios, but I know the bestest friends that anyone can have that you can check out with me every Wednesday. Until then, they're always plugging me. They're always supporting me. And that's what family do. We don't just show up to the cookout for the food. We do the electric slide too. So don't be afraid to just show up for your plate in the electric slide.
Except me, because I can't.
Yes. And once again, I just want to thank you guys, Brian, the crew, for joining me every week on Twitch. I want to thank everybody that stops by the club. Every retweet, every like, every comment, all that really helps. Being able to become a Twitch affiliate is really a stepping stone for us. So I want to thank everybody for that. Yes, Dylan is right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. There is so much happening. I also just want to shout out Dylan in general, because he really makes these really cool gifts of us after each show that I really gotta use more. Thank you so much. We so appreciate
that. You see, I've been using
shout out to Dylan, because now
you the man.
Now I use the GIF in the work group chat, and now when they're shocked and appalled by something, they use that same GFI. So shout out to him, because it's the one where I was like this. And so now I was like, oh, you guys just remember you also have class at 5 a.m. and one of my employees showed it. I was like, oh, y'all are using it. They're like, that shit is funny. So shout outs to him and all the 20-year-olds that I work with that now use it. So shout out to you, Dylan, for putting in that hard work. It's not easy, but you do it for us because you love us. So thank you.
I just learned how to make gifts. That thing is time consuming. So you do a great job with that.
You do an absolutely good job. And he's all the way in, I want to say Australia. So this, I think it's the morning for you.
The land down under.
And down under.
Or is it
Headbutt kangaroos and go drink beers. Let's go.
What?
That was good.
What was that?
I don't
We're
know
not going to be offensive on the fan club.
I don't know what we do in Australia. I was like, is that, I don't know, rugby?
Justin.
Yeah, it's that time.
Yo, I was like gonna take you out, but then I realized that the club is closing anyway, so it's like everything is fine. But I
Hold
do
on,
want
I
to
got one more moment to show.
What's up?
Kangaroos will kill you.
Yo, they box. I heard they be like really be.
See,
like,
I hope this is grammatically correct, but.
And y'all like Justin. Ooh.
Hey, her moment. That whole night was a her moment.
Oh yeah, that was such a good moment. Oh, save the date, November 4th, Brooklyn, New York. We are celebrating our 5th anniversary. KRISTA B is already cooking a lot of stuff up. Another plug, Black Wrestle Fest. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate the love. Black Wrestle Fest is happening again Juneteenth weekend. So follow Black Wrestle Fest all over social media for that. It's a lot happening. We're like so excited about everything. So shout out to KRISTA B. I'm so glad she was able to join us. But yeah, tonight was a good night in the club. I cannot wait to get into next week's topic. That's going to be good. So now,
a good time. You can't wait to come back.
God. Oh my God, I cannot wait. So we're not just going to talk about Total Divas next week. We're going to talk about reality TV in wrestling. We're going to talk about AEW's new show. We'll talk about Total Bellas. We'll talk about Bianca Belair Montez's new show, what that might be like. We'll talk about Roads to the Top. Remember, that was a show too.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully Trish Stratus make an improvement.
Had a reality show, so are we
gonna throw
yeah, Brian, you hard on Trish.
I'm worse with my favorites. Y'all know that. I'm worse with my favorites.
It's not even pew pew pew. It's like come on, man.
Like big gangster.
No, that's just a bazooka. You're getting all that.
No word to Dylan. We gotta talk about that. Like, if you watch that show that Cody Rhodes had, like his sister.
Oh, see, I never.
Dude,
wasn't she going on Brandy?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I seen a couple episodes.
Anyone in the club right now? Did y'all watch Roast to the Top? I know Dylan said his sister's a real heel, but did anyone watch it? Like, how was it? Like, I'm so curious.
Sorry, well,
everybody got till next week to watch it. Yeah.
Y'all just pick my interest with this Cody Rhodes sister stuff.
I know. So what I'm gonna do is, or maybe production will, because he's amazing. We will find clips, YouTube videos that will kind of get everyone in the mix. Oh, Dylan said it was mid. That he said it was mid, but that shit was wild. So there you go. So we'll find some clips. We'll post some clips. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Make sure you follow the hashtag TWG Fan Club. We'll post some reality TV clips in wrestling. We'll get into it. Oh, we can even get into reality. We can get into wrestlers on reality TV that's not WWE produced. Like the Hogan reality show just came to mind. That fucking shit show just came to mind.
Old.
Ciao.
That reality show
can we not and say we did?
Yes.
Hogan, yeah, because I wasn't watching them. About to be by yourself.
Hogan knows best. How about Hogan go rest anywhere else?
No, after hearing that Homeboy had a peen tape, I'm not looking at that show the same way ever again. Like it's just
Brian, why did you grab that belt?
Because it's a superior one.
Just resting, you know.
It's a superior belt.
That Hogan introduced, you know.
All right, I'm ready to go home. You know how I feel about Putting him in the box.
Damn.
Can we put Hogan in the box, please?
No.
Boss.
Okay, yeah, y'all can put him in the box.
Thank
Okay.
you. No, well, please, because I'm tired.
Wait, hold on. You know what?
Please.
This will be addressed privately. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Now we have to have a team meeting. Thanks,
Yes,
Brian.
we'll have a crew meetup, but
Put him in the box. Ugh, like, ew.
Yeah, we're putting Hogan in the box. We're gonna put Brian in the box. Like it's
Oh wow,
We'll
Brian's in the
discuss
penalty
this
box.
internally.
It's like, damn, is that you, Brian? Holla at your boy.
We love you, Brian.
Jeez,
And we love
highly
everyone
upset.
that comes to
Highly
the club.
upset. Now we gotta discuss this internally.
Yes, there you
Have
go.
to have a talk with management.
That's it.
Thanks,
That's
Brian.
it. That's it right there. But yes, we will see everybody next week in the club, 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch, exclusively. Playbacks on YouTube. And we'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm.
Good night.